Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday Eve, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN, where it's coming up on 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley is here. So is Super Bowl champ Carey Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. Matthew Rocchio is spinning the dials for us here on a Thursday morning on 101 ESPN. Not really spinning the dials.
Spinning the dials.
Yeah, spinning the dials.
Early morning.
We actually have now... slide things.
Oh, you don't have to.
We don't spin any dials at all anymore.
You sliding the dials?
In the business. Sliding the dials. Okay. There you go.
Ooh.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Oh, doing good. Minus,
I've been better. I've been better.
Blues.
Yeah. You have the blues?
Yeah, I have the blues, and the blues have the blues.
Clearly.
The Blues lost last night. I don't know if you guys stayed up and watched that.
It wasn't how that's supposed to work.
I didn't want to towards the end there.
It was kind of a debacle.
So,
A debacle?
oh,
Yeah.
Can I get the meaning?
4-1 loss.
the
A
origin?
bad thing. Maybe debacle. In some societies, it's called a debacle.
Oh, okay.
but
I
is
know
it
that word.
so a demical, is that where you combine two?
Debacle.
Debacle. I thought you said demical.
No.
And I thought, I was like, okay, what could that be?
Debacle. A debacle.
Yeah.
Debacle.
How?
Yeah,
We got the
were
same amount of
debacled.
shots on goal. They actually, honestly, so there were a few times where they looked more aggressive.
Yes,
They
second
looked,
period.
Yeah,
Hello.
they looked like they were giving great effort. They were taking shots. They were taking one-timers. And I thought to myself, okay, all right, we can do this.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, we just couldn't.
Okay, so this wasn't a debacle because, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, a debacle is a complete failure, especially because of bad planning and organization.
Well, there were some issues. The Blues power play is continuing to be an
That's
issue.
a
That's a
debacle.
debacle right there.
Yeah.
Also, the lack of defensive net front presence is very scary.
Kinda
that was
weird.
something that you saw in the game. If you're looking for some good parking, you find plenty of good space available right in front of the Blues net. I mean, sometimes parking's hard to come by,
It
but
is.
you can just park it right there. I feel like it seems like they're just so dependent on Jordan Bennington just doing really well. I want them to just pretend like they have an e-bug in net, where you're not going to be dependent on the goalie in the situations, because that's what it felt like a lot of the times last night, is that they're just dependent and they're hoping that Jordan Bennington will bail them out. And I really hope, and I highly doubt that was their plan going into the season, and it shouldn't be, but that's what it looks like.
Should not. Our buddy Tyler Stewart, I'm sure, is listening, former e-bug. And, so Blues just plan as if, all due respect to Tyler's goaltending acumen, plan as if he's your goaler. Here's what happened last night. It kind of looked ugly in the first period. Ross Colton scoring at the 8:53 mark for the Avs, and then Mikko Rantanen scoring at 13-19, 2-0 after a period, and it did not look good for the Blues. However, late in the second period, after the Blues had tightened things up defensively a bit, our guy came through.
One of the Colorado players ends up crashing into the net. That's Arturi Lehkonen. He's going to go to the bench hunched over. Letty's going to lead the charge out of the zone. Get it over the line. They hit the trailer. Thomas. Score! They've broken through. Robert Thomas, second of the year. 2:11 to go in the second period. The Blues are on the board. It's a 2-1 game in Denver.
And it was after two periods. Apparently, Arturi Lehkonen was not injured enough because he scored 141 into the third. Bowen Byron scoring at the 7:59 mark, 4-1 at that point, and the Blues fall by a tally of 4-1 to the Colorado Avalanche. No surprise whatsoever. We should not be upset, bothered, surprised by what happened, because
shouldn't be bothered.
Colorado is just way better than the Blues. If Colorado and the Blues play 10 times, Colorado's going to win 9, and when the Blues do win, it's going to be because they got lucky. Colorado is, if you run down the rosters, you run down the 12 forwards and 6 defensemen, Colorado has the advantage probably of the 18 skaters. Colorado probably has the advantage in 17.
Well, Colorado was coming off 2 back-to-back games of being shut out. And so you would hope, they were on the road. They were in you would hope that the Blues would be able to perform to a better level.
But I think Colorado's just better. I think sometimes that's hard for us to give credence to, that the other team is simply better, but I think they are.
Well, it seems like any team that they face that is very speedy, it seems like speed kills the Blues. Well, and other things amongst that. But the power play is just getting worrisome. Can you remember a time where they have started off the season in this manner when it comes to the power play? Because it felt like there were so many times where they could have really built off the momentum. There was chances, or even that Robert Thomas goal. I know that wasn't a power play goal, but still, it's like they can't build off any momentum in the games.
The weird thing is they don't get shots.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you just can't set it up. And I know Colton Parayko doesn't shoot all the time. But when the Blues had Al McInnes, Hall of Famer, different player I know. But all they would do is get the puck to the point and let Al McInnes fire away. Plant somebody in front of the net and let Colton Parayko take his shot. Don't tell Colton, don't worry about breaking ankles, okay? It's going to happen. You have a hard shot. Right? But just fire away. Just get pucks to the direction of the net. They don't even do that. They go through 2-minute stretches on the power play where they don't even get a puck in the direction of the net. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're seeing. I mean, at this point, anything to just get them going, because if the power play is not working for you, and that's meant to give you one man advantage, but also give you some momentum in the game, and you can't capitalize on that in any way, you got to figure out something here, because it just looks sloppy. They look slow. They look a step behind, and there was a lot of puck watching.
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. And okay, so the three teams that they've beaten in regulation aren't very good teams right now. The Penguins aren't good.
Right.
The Kraken aren't good. The Flames aren't really good. So maybe the Blues aren't really good.
Yeah, I think that's
is that safe to say?
When your general manager says at the beginning of the season, we hope to finish in third in our division, that's hoping for mediocrity, right?
Well, and that was my issue with it, is I appreciate the honesty and transparency, because I think we asked that of a lot of GMs, and I'm looking at John Mosaic, that we want some more of that transparency. But at the same time, it was like, oh, they probably know something here. Or even remember when Tom Stillman sat here in studio and said they weren't going to be elite this year. Those should have been clear warning signs. And I know they tried to make some moves going into the season, and the whole situation with Torrey Krug. Torrey Krug does not look great, but he is not the only one. It was a bad night for Tyler Tucker. It was a bad night for a lot of guys. I mean, Jordan Kyrou with that one goal. Did you guys see that, where he was just watching essentially? Yeah. I'm like, if you're gonna bench Jacob Verana, then you should bench Jordan Kyrou. But can you bench this whole team at different points in the season? Because it's starting to get to that point.
So,
probably.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they did have fun last night in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They came away with a victory in World Series game number 5. 5-0 was the final. Rangers over the Diamondbacks. What a game it was. The starting pitcher, Zach Gallen. Okay, guys, start with this. Oh, no. Has any team in one trade ever traded two pitchers to the level of Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen? Not blaming the Cardinals, because they didn't know. Nobody knew how good these two guys were going to be. But I think you could probably, certainly in my lifetime, I tried to analyze last night and look and think. I can't think of a trade in the last 60 years where one team has traded two pitchers like this in one trade. It's truly unbelievable.
Yeah. It's unfortunate is what it is. It's not, I mean, it's things happen, but it's more unfortunate than anything, because if you don't give guys an opportunity to show exactly who they are, what they are, and you move them out the door, it's unfortunate, because you don't know what you're giving up. You know what you want in return, and obviously what you needed in return was what you needed in that moment. But what you gave up is what you needed for the future, and what you need right now in pitching. And yeah, it's unfortunate, because I don't think those guys, I don't know if they got the opportunity to really show or prove that they could be big league pitchers and have the success and have the career that they're having right now.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
No, so you're saying that we kind of get a little bit of credit, and I say we in the St. Louis Cardinals, is that we get a little bit of credit for their success?
Well, they can scout people.
We can just get we can get like a little bit, so we should feel a little happy about it.
That they can scout people, but scouting them once they get into your organization is a key too.
Now, with the reason,
the reason we bring this up is because last night Zach Gallen, who was in the Marcell Ozuna trade along with Sandy Alcantara, went 6 no-hit innings in the World Series against one of the best offensive teams that we've ever seen. Unfortunately for Gallen, there is such thing as the 7th inning.
On an 0-1. Grounds one through. Texas takes the lead. Seager's in to score. Carter stopped at third. And after 6 innings without a hit, 3 1/2 the 7th.
Yeah, and they weren't done. We go to the 9th. It's still a 1-0 game. And Jonah Heim comes through for the Rangers.
Gonna have the offense show up. This is going to be the clincher. Hot shot into center field. 3 consecutive hits in the 9th. The ball gets by. It's all the way to the track. It goes all the way to the wall and 2-run score. Heim to third. It's 3-0 Texas.
Yeah, an unfortunate occurrence there for Alec Thomas of the Diamondbacks. The ball goes right under his glove all the way to the wall to score a couple of more. And then with Heim aboard, one of the big money acquisitions for the Rangers, finish things off. Joe Davis had the call on Fox, and Jason Spores came on to finish things out for the Rangers. Josh Spores, I'm sorry. And the Rangers win at 5-0, win the series, 4-1, their first world championship. The 2023 Texas Rangers are the 2019 St. Louis Blues. So congratulations to Rangers fans. Never had a championship. Finally, they have one after all of that heartbreak. Yes, Matthew.
Who's Jordan Bennington?
I would say that, Jordan Bennington was there at the end for the Blues, but I would say for the most part it's Adolis Garcia. Yeah, and Corey Seager, by the way, was named World Series Most Valuable Player. And it's interesting, when you look at the way that the Rangers built their team, they go out and get those superstars, they bring up some good, productive youngsters, then they spend money on the pitchers, and then, as was noted last night, go out and hire one of the best managers in the game.
It's amazing how it all comes together.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Being aggressive pays off. Is that the
That's
lesson
simple, huh?
that we learn here? And their resilience is what you're talking about, that all the different moves that they made and how they were able to keep fighting back. If you look at how things have just went, their signings over the years, you look at Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, they get them, and then you had some injuries in 2022. They don't just give up, essentially. They knew that they still had a very talented offensive group, but they were just missing some of those other pieces, being pitchers. It feels very similar in a lot of ways to possibly what the Cardinals are looking at here. I don't expect you to go and spend, $500 million plus like the Rangers did essentially on Corey Seager and Semien. But at the same time, the way that they kept on maneuvering, knowing what pieces they had and evaluating what was missing, I think is something that every team should be looking at, but especially the Cardinals when they're going into such a critical offseason.
I wonder, though, and this is something the Cardinals have to prove to us, if the Cardinals have a plan. For example, if the Cardinals are rolling next year and they go out and let's put the names out there. Let's say it's Aaron Nola, and then in the middle of the season they trade for Dylan Cease because Nola got hurt. And they wind up losing Dylan Cease, okay? Who fixes that situation? Who is the veteran presence that coaches the Cardinals through a situation if they've lost a veteran starter that they signed in free agency and a guy that they traded for, like the Rangers did when they lost Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer?
Well, they went out and got a couple of more guys. They went out and got at the trade deadline Max Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery. Jacob deGrom got hurt early on, so you were able to go out and get those guys to help, push you forward and towards the playoffs. When you lose a starter, it's hard on everybody, but the next man up mentality has to take place. You have to have guys that are willing and ready to do their job to the best of their ability. Losing deGrom early in the season, they thought that would be, you had to have thought that was going to be one of the worst injuries for the year and that team would be done, but they just kept plugging away. And again, like I said, at the trade deadline, figured we're right here. We can go make a move for a couple of guys and put us in a position. We got the offense. We're hitting the hell out of the ball. We got to get a couple of pitchers that can help solidify this starting rotation, and that's what they did.
Yeah, just continuing to stay aggressive and making those competitive moves, that really empowers a lot of guys. And to answer your question, it's going to be future bench coach Yadier Molina that can help you weather the storm there.
Okay, I like that. I can handle that a lot.
Yeah. So now the Cardinals are on the clock. Announcements coming here soon?
I mean, it should be right now. Why not?
Next week?
Today.
Tuesday?
World Series is over. Why not today?
Immediately today? I think I would enjoy that.
At 9 a.m.
Just come out firing all the changes.
Don't tell anybody. Just a few people.
Well, tell us so that we can be... Yeah.
Get it done.
And you look at what the Rangers were able to accomplish with a guy like Spores, who had finished up last night, didn't have He had a 0 ERA in 3 games in the World Series. And 3.1 innings pitched. Leclerc, who really knew Jose Leclerc coming into the season, winds up being a premier closer. He was great. John Gray, who they signed as last year's free agent. That would be your Steven Matz comp, I guess, although Matz never had the level of success that Gray had in Colorado. But Matz was pretty darn good the 2 years before he signed here. Maybe Steven Matz is your John Gray, and you have somebody that can turn him around into a better pitcher than what he's been. Dane Dunning had a really good year for them, 3 games pitched. He had a 0 ERA in the World Series. Andrew Heaney, that's the guy that when everybody went down winds up giving you innings as a starter, and he pitches in 2 games with a 1.59 ERA. And then obviously you signed a big game guy in Nathan Eovaldi.
I was going to say, I know DeGrom got a lot of the attention and all of that, but Nathan Eovaldi was a huge pickup for them.
Huge.
That was a guy that the Cardinals probably could have gone after. 2 years, $34 million. Is that
pretty
correct? That's not bad money.
You'd like to have him on the market this year when the Cardinals say they're going to go for it, right?
Oh, man, if only. 5 wins this postseason, which I think was tied for most all time in a single postseason. And you're also talking about other guys stepping up. Evan Carter, I was telling you guys, I thought that he would be the breakout star. And I think he is a young star when you're looking at the future of the Rangers organization. At 21 years old, set a league record with 9 doubles in a postseason. He was called up to the bigs just last month. And when you're talking about that next man up mentality, CD, he definitely rose to the occasion there. And also the coaching staff that you had available. The Bruce Bochy effect is real. So happy for Mike Maddox. Did you guys see the post-game interview where he was tearing up at the end there? I was tearing up for him because I was happy that he was able to have this work out in that way.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job with that staff. And those guys are so calm. And that's one thing that you just can't buy. Doesn't matter how much you spend on a manager or how smart a manager is. You can't buy experience.
No.
And Bochy has experience in spades, and so does Mike Maddox, and so does they've just got a really good staff. And the teams that were in the playoffs and the teams that succeeded in the playoffs, that was one of the common threads among those teams, is that they had really good, solid coaching staffs. And to win, that's what you have to have. All right, we're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line. 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. What are you sick of? Sick of It is next on 101 ESPN.
The Blues play on ESPN. The wait is over. Tomorrow, Blues and Devils. Pre-game at 6, puck drop at 7. Shoots, he scores! This is your exclusive home for Blues hockey. 101 ESPN. Metallica in the round. M72 World Tour. Live from the 50-yard line of the Dome at America Center. Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different sets. This Friday night with Pantera and Mammoth WVH. And Sunday night with Five Finger Death Punch and Ice 9 Kills. Get access to preferred tickets with your City Card. Single-day tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Metallica. Presented by Blackened American Whiskey and Liquid Death.
Holiday stories from Shane Company customers.
My 3 girls are coming home for the holidays. I created a gemstone necklace for each of them at Shane Company. Gracie loves yellow, so I chose citrine.
watch us, you can on our Air Alliance Team Studio Cam. Just go to YouTube and search 101 ESPN STL. You can watch us, and I hope, if you get the opportunity, that you'll subscribe to our channel so that you can watch us every single morning. And I promise you, at some point during the 3 hours between 7 and 10, you can see our face. All of our faces. Yeah. Brooke, are you sick of anything?
Yeah. Speaking of, well, I just saw somebody, I saw somebody text in about somebody driving past them at least 70 miles per hour and a 35 right past them this morning. It made me think this morning, you know what I am sick of is seeing really old expired temporary tags, especially the paper ones.
Yeah.
So driving in this morning, there was a car in front of me and it's a paper, temporary tag. And it was from 2022. And for a moment, because, in the morning you're still waking up a little groggy, I was like, did I time travel? What year is this? It is 2022.
2022
I am
bad.
so sick of it, but you see it all the time. And I understand that life gets hectic, gets busy, things are expensive, but I don't know how busy you are that it's taken you this long to update your tags.
Yeah, that's bad. I've seen some 2020, I think I saw one 2019. I don't know. It's
Oh, God.
It's really, it is what it is. You get caught, you got to deal with the repercussions. So,
Well, they must not be getting pulled over or
they can't
anything.
be getting pulled over. I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot of
stuff
speeding
happening.
things happening around here. You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of the teams that I root for not playing well. I had to watch the Cardinals this season. I'm watching the Blues. I had to watch the Blues last year. I had to watch the Cardinals this year. I'm watching the Blues again this year, not performing well. And my Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Tennessee Titans tonight. Coming off of a loss, I think we can get a win because it is, he's a rookie quarterback, and we don't worry about rookie quarterbacks. But
excuse
I'm just
me,
saying,
did you see what Will Levis
I
did
did.
last week?
I was present. I watched. But I'm sick of my teams not performing well. So that stops tonight. Pittsburgh Steelers, you're on the clock.
All right. You know what I'm sick of, guys? And we talk about this a lot. I'm sick of the Cardinals not spending money. They don't spend enough. I see that the Padres are willing to go out and take out a $50 million loan so that they can pay their players. I'm sick of the Cardinals not going out and taking out $50, $60, $70 million loans so that they can cover payroll. Sick of that.
I don't think that the Padres?
Padres did that.
Where were they last night?
Oh, but they were in San Diego.
Watching the game just like the Cardinals.
They were in San Diego.
There you go.
We're on vacation in Cancun on a golf
in
course.
Tijuana, right across the border. They were not in Arizona.
I'm sick of the Cardinals being so cheap that they won't take out a $50 million loan to pay players.
I don't know that you want to take out a loan. I think maybe you should spend the money that you have. But I agree in terms of not spending enough money. You got to do better.
Yeah, I would say so.
You want people to take out a loan?
To pay for more players for
it's
me.
actually the American way. So
It's the American way. Just put it on a credit card, okay? Put it on a credit card. Come on.
What are they going to get from you when you're not here? What difference does it make?
Hey,
It's not your fault.
Listen to it. Just put it on a credit card, and then it will go away.
It does. That's
Kind
what they
of.
say, allegedly.
And here's the way they couch it. It's funny. The Padres organization continues to have access to all the resources, financial and otherwise, it needs to field a championship caliber team. Of course you do. You took out a $50 million loan. All right, Matthew, what do you got for us?
I'm sick of people holding up the line at the gas station with the darn lottery tickets.
Oh,
Hey, it is what it is.
Yes.
You leave those people alone. They're sweet old ladies and older gentlemen trying to
call me old.
Step to the side.
older than me.
Carey,
Gentlemen and women.
Step to the side.
Oh.
Or go to the back of the line while
Here's
you're
the
doing
thing.
all your little things.
Oh, no, they're buying a lot of stuff.
Here's the thing.
Well, I'm just saying, go to the back of the line.
When you see older people, no offense.
He just motioned towards Randy.
You give them grace because at some point you're going to be in that position. You get the hell, leave them alone. And I can't wait to get to be 67. You know how rude I'm going to be. Just, leave me the hell alone. Hey, what do you want? Get away.
I'm kind of happy that I haven't lost my filter yet.
I'm going to lose it. I know it.
You are.
The moment
You're pretty close right now.
Every day, coaching these kids, I get a little bit closer. Hey. You leave me the hell alone.
What's next, Matthew?
Oh my God. I'm sick of Rocchio being over dramatic every time he lets us know who won the fight. It happens every day. You don't need to hype it up.
I do agree.
I kind of like it.
Bite me.
Yeah.
Randy, of course you like it.
Yeah, I want to be Rock.
Just win, baby.
Did you say bite me?
I said bite me. And it's a lot better than what I wanted to say. I'll say that. I'll say that right there, darn much.
I could be more dramatic when I win.
No, you don't.
You have a good time. Is this the pre-fight?
Yeah.
Can you add "Take Me Higher"?
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
Totally.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Matthew.
You, Randy. Brooke, what's your obsession with Creed?
Can you take? Well, no, it's just the Rangers.
Finish that.
No, guys.
You
My
started.
parents are going to be listening, and they're going to be so ashamed and embarrassed.
You get 6 seconds on YouTube.
Can
Make
you
use of it.
take me higher? That's all I got. Obviously, my parents did not put me in singing lessons, so there you go, Mom and Dad. Always making you proud.
You are a natural. You don't even need lessons.
No, it's beautiful. I know.
Coming up tonight, we've got an inter-opening drive battle on Thursday Night Football. We're going to just let these two hash it out next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues fall to the Avalanche last night, 4-1, and the Powerplay drops to 1 for 28 on the season. That is 32nd in the entire league after going 0-3, 0 for 3 last night. Also last night, World Series Game 5, and it was a clincher for the Texas Rangers, 5-0 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Blues, by the way, back in action on Friday. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop between the Devils and the Blues. It'll be a 6 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. On 101 ESPN tonight, we have the opening drive bowl, as we're affectionately calling it, as the Titans and the Steelers face off. 6:30 pregame right here again on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
We do have the opening drive bowl tonight here on 101 ESPN. The Steelers of Carey Davis are a 2.5-point favorite over the Titans of Brooke Grimsley. Titans come into this game 3-4, 0-3 on the road. Carey's Steelers are 4-3, 2-2 at home. I am Switzerland. So,
are you going to be neutral in this?
But I can be convinced. But you both need to make your cases as to why your franchise is better.
You're the road guest. Go ahead.
I'm going to start with this. How's Minkah Fitzpatrick doing, CD?
Oh, he's injured. That's fine. That's cool. That's a low ball. It's all right. That's all right.
I'm sorry. Should I not have started out with that?
Ask her how AJ Brown's doing.
How is AJ Brown doing?
Well, we're doing just fine without AJ Brown because we have DeAndre Hopkins and Will Levis. Did you guys see what the second coming of Steve McNair did?
I did not.
Recently here.
I didn't see it. Coming of Steve McNair.
Did you just say? I'm just saying. We're starting things off in Tennessee. This is a fresh start for the Tennessee Titans. And so Switzerland over there, come over to the fun side. Come over to Mayo Boy land. It's exciting.
Mayo Boy, I like
Will
this.
Levis, what he's doing right now is inspiring, and it's actually better than anything that we've seen recently with the Tennessee Titans. So that's saying a lot. But the connection that he's made with DeAndre Hopkins, 4 touchdown passes, as we saw recently in that victory, and his NFL debut, they didn't go conservative because sometimes, they kind of want to build a rookie quarterback up, and maybe kind of be a little conservative with their play call. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to let Will Levis sling it. So he is going to do that again this week tonight against your Steelers without Minkah Fitzpatrick and DeAndre Hopkins. That connection they've made. Thank God that finally happened because I was forgetting that Hopkins is on this team. 4 of those touchdown passes, 3 of which went to DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I think that the best thing that the Tennessee Titans can do for our Pittsburgh Steelers is throw the football, because there's a couple of guys. Alex Highsmith, he's on one edge, and then there's another guy. You may have heard him. He's J.J. Watt's younger brother. He's
Derek Watt.
Derek is the fullback, but they got another Watt brother. He's just really
JT.
getting TJ.
TJ. Yeah, there you go.
He's on the opposite, and he's really new to the game, so you may not have heard about him yet, but he gets after the quarterback. Ready? Trust me, you're gonna like this guy. Okay, and that's one thing. The other thing that Brooke, being a fan of the black and gold, in which I am, that we have 6 of these silver. What do they call it? Big that you get them at the end of the year. The Rangers won something similar to it last night in their sport. They got a trophy. How many does Tennessee have? Yeah, don't worry about it. So here you go. This is why
we got close once.
One time, and it didn't work out for them. So this is why you choose to root for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have legacy, you have tradition, and you have guys. You got guys that get after the quarterback. Mayo Boy is going to be wishing he was sitting down with a cup of mayo and coffee right around 7 p.m. tonight. He'll be looking for the coffee machine to get away from all of the madness. It gets loud in there, Randy, when people are coming in there to make contact. So you want to be a part. You're a winner. I watch you every day, Randy. I watch you every single day win at your job, right? Come on the winning side.
Okay, so the history aspect, he's got me there. But what about something new and exciting and thrilling? I'm telling you, you need to get behind Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans and what they're doing right now. I think this can be like the 2019 campaign where you had Marcus Mariota go away, Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, my God.
Ryan Tannehill. But it turned out into a better campaign for the Tennessee Titans once Ryan Tannehill took over. This is like history repeating itself. But Will Levis is going to lead them to victory and is going to continue to do so. He's exciting. He's new. He's also recently single. So a lot of people are saying this was his revenge game. If you remember his girlfriend who was sitting beside him during the draft and supporting him, that's gone. So a lot of people are saying this is revenge Will Levis that you are seeing right now. So I even threw a little love story in there because I know that you like that sometimes, Randy. Yes.
Okay. Question for both teams here. Coach Grimsley, who wears number 22 for your team?
Derrick Henry.
Formerly great?
Yes.
Formerly.
Don't say formally.
He's okay.
He's got like 300 yards. Coach Davis, who wears number 22 for your team?
Oh, Najee Harris. He's a now. Yeah, I know you like Najee because you drafted him in many leagues. He got you a touchdown.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I picked my team.
Yeah, I think you know. There's another thing, Randy. How old are you?
I am 61 now.
61. So for
my lifetime, basically. My lifetime as a fan.
Your lifetime. The Steelers have only had 3 coaches. For the most part.
Love that stability.
That is stability. That's the type of stability you want in a fandom, in a relationship. You want stability. The Titans don't have that stability, Randy.
Hey, but you never know what to expect, and so it's thrilling, it's exciting, and that thrilling roller coaster ride, it's going to keep going up and up. How do you feel about Kenny Pickett?
You know what? Kenny Pickett is
He's
a young
little
man.
banged up. He's a little banged up.
Ribs. He got
now,
some ribs
CD,
going on.
I've been sitting next to you. I've heard what you've been saying about Kenny Pickett. So where is some of the scoring coming from?
Did you hear about the guy T.J. Watt? He can score too.
Okay.
He's had a pick 6 this season.
Let's see.
We can score
actually,
on defense.
Mike Vrabel has provided a level of stability for our Tennessee Titans. See, that's my number 2 team tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's in his 6th year. Mike Mularkey had 2.5 years. Ken Wisenhunt had a year and a half.
How many coaches have they had in 54 years, Randy?
So 54
1969.
Since 1969. Well, they've had 3 cities.
Is past. Hey, guys.
2 cities and 20 coaches.
You remember this?
Listen. The past doesn't matter.
15.
Okay, we're going to count them up.
The past doesn't matter. We are in the present.
The past doesn't matter, guys. That's why she called him. That's why she called him young Steve McNair.
I said yes. This is Steve McNair. I almost said Steve McNair's a legend. You guys know how much I love Steve McNair. It's seriously. I love him so much. But
you're at 14?
15. They had 15, and but one of them, so that you get you get credit for 2 for Chuck Studley.
Hey, did he come back again? Was he?
No, but just because of the name, he was Studley.
Hey, man.
We can do this fast. Wally Lem. Hold on, let me get
Ed Hughes.
Ed Hughes. There you go.
Bill Peterson.
Yeah. Oh man, we've been through some guys.
What are we doing? Well, I just want to ask.
Bum Phillips was great.
Ed Biles.
Yeah.
Chuck Studley.
Hugh Campbell.
Jerry Glanville. That's a good.
Hey, I want to talk about another coach. What
Jack
about
Pardee is a great name.
Listen to this real quick. Tell me about Matt Canada. You've talked so highly about him all season, CD.
Yeah, Matty is figuring things out. I told you last week that.
Come on, CD. He's not figuring things out.
Matty called a great play down on the goal line, and our quarterback missed the read. Those things happen from time to time, and so we'll get it corrected.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kenny Pickett, fantastic. Matt Canada, really trust what he can do there. All right, there's a lot to look forward to with the Steelers offense. 20-12 Titans. There you go.
Okay. Other coaching news, by the way, with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler out in Vegas. And by the way, they also fired their offensive coordinator. They have a new staff. Antonio Pierce is kind of fierce, and he's going to be their interim head coach. Their owner, Mark Davis, said that things were regressing. And at the beginning of the season, he made the decision that if they weren't progressing by the trade deadline, by Halloween, that he was going to make a change. And he determined after the Monday night game that they weren't progressing enough. So that's why he made the move. And they weren't going anywhere. So they do need an opportunity to move forward. But I don't know if they have the right people in place to move forward.
Well, I mean, this is an audition for Antonio Pierce to see if he can get things going in the right direction. If he's able to, maybe he continues to be the head coach going forward for 2024. But this is a team. I mean, I think we knew early on that Josh McDaniels was not the answer for the Raiders. It was clear. It was evident. He was not the answer pretty much at any stop he's been at. He was at the Colts for a day and then decided, I don't want this job. Like, you understand the type of person that you're dealing with. I don't know if he's a bad person. I just don't think he's a great head coach. I think he's an outstanding offensive coordinator. But as a head coach, there is more. It encompasses much more than just calling plays. You are in charge of the entire team, top to bottom. And so if you're not taking care of that, it shows up every day, every Sunday, every Thursday, Monday nights, whenever you're playing. And that's essentially what it was for him and for them. The Raiders, they're in a tough division with Patrick Mahomes is going to be that Kansas City Chiefs team is always going to be at the forefront. Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback as well. I don't know what the hell they're doing in Denver. They won a game.
But they're going to be competitive with their coach.
They are, and they're going to finally, at some point, get a new quarterback that's going to allow them to be successful. So in that division alone, trying to make it out of the division into the playoffs, winning the division is going to be a tough task. You probably are not going to be able to do that with Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback for the future. You're probably not going to see Devontae Adams there because he's extremely frustrated. Josh Jacobs, you've really upset him as well in terms of the amount of money you are unwilling to give him. Offensively, what the hell do you have? You traded away one of your best weapons in Waller in the offseason to the New York Giants for I don't know what the hell you got in return. I don't know where they go offensively. Max Crosby, love him. He's gonna go get the quarterback. But other than that, you don't have a lot to be excited about if you're a Raiders fan right now.
One thing I would do if I was their offensive coordinator, and I would mandate this if I were Antonio Pierce. Devontae Adams, every single time you have the ball, has to be targeted at least once. If you're going to have 8 or 9 different possessions during a game, he's got to be targeted at least that many times, but probably more. I'm thinking 3 times a quarter for Devontae Adams, at least 12 targets a game.
At least. And if you want to get fancy, give him 18 targets a game because he deserves it.
Can't go wrong with it.
At least something. Well, didn't they say that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be benched and they're going to start Aiden O'Connell?
Yeah. Old Irish gets his opportunity.
That is the deal.
And one other NFL note. Taylor Heineke promoted in Atlanta over Desmond Ridder.
There you go.
Taylor Heineke, former backup for your St. Louis Battlehawks, and now the Falcons can become not only Anthony Stalter's team, but St. Louis's team. And with Taylor Heineke at the helm, ultimately America's team. Taylor Heineke throwing to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Ooh, man, you talk about danger.
I'm not usually one to push for this, but maybe this is just the year that St. Louis maybe front runs a little bit with their football team.
That's not a bad thing.
I'm just saying we're struggling a little bit. We're scuffling a little bit in some other sports. I'm just saying maybe we front run a little bit with the NFL and there's an NBA team we could front run with.
You're telling me
I'm just saying there's an NBA team we could also front run with.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. They just won a championship. I'm just saying we pick the Chiefs and the Nuggets.
Ooh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
He said, ooh.
Why? Why would you want us to do that? That doesn't make any sense.
I want St. Louis to be happy to remember.
You want us to be happy for Stan Kroenke?
Champions. Let's watch some winning teams again.
Amzinger and I have gone all in on the Arizona Cardinals, as you know, because we don't want to be thought of as bandwagon jumpers. Lord knows we will not be thought of as bandwagon jumpers folling the Arizona. And it's not just on the field. I guess off the field they have an issue or two as well.
They got some things going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of great.
Kind of a problem. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN.
Text 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, time for TIOLI on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carey, Randy, and Matthew. Kids, 2 years ago, 2021, the Texas Rangers lost 102 games. They're the 2023 world champions. Take it or leave it. Your 2025 world champions are the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ooh, 2025?
Yep, 2 years after losing 90 games.
What moves? This is
There's a lot
predicated off.
I have a weird question.
This
This is copycatting the Rangers.
I have a weird question.
Yeah.
Is your who currently on the Cardinals organization is in that rotation?
That's a great question. I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question.
So you're just going to put that out there, but not give us any answers of what exactly this looks like?
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals copycat the Rangers.
You know what? I'll take it. I think it depends a lot on what they do this offseason and which pitchers they go after and are able to secure. Because if they don't, then they won't. That's where I'm going to go.
I'll take it just because why not?
Thank you.
There you go. I believe.
You believe.
I believe that they will win. I believe that they will win.
Dane Dunning was on that staff 2 years ago. John Gray was not. Andrew Heaney was not. Nathan Eovaldi was not. Martin Perez was. So two pitchers from their 2021 staff were on this staff for the most part this year. Obviously not throughout the course of the playoffs. So I'll give you two Cardinals being on the 2025 staff. Michaelis is already under contract for 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
Tank Hens equals Leclerc.
Okay.
I like
Good
that.
with Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's cool. Who's starting? We just going to have bullpen games every night.
well, no, that's the question. Are the Cardinals, that's why I have the TIOLI. Are we going to, for the course of the regular season, will the Cardinals do what the Rangers did to put themselves in position to win
Getting
the
all
World
those
Series?
pieces together over the years.
You got to figure something out.
Yep.
Yamamoto will be leading the staff.
I'm ready to say NL Central champions, but
Okay.
I'm not ready to say World Series.
Well, if they're NL Central champions and they're the playoff team with the least wins, then they can do it. Might be better off being a wild card, actually, based on the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Succeed, baby. Win championships.
So we had our first firing of the NFL season, and Josh McDaniels. Take it or leave it. We see what's today? We see
Second.
3 more before Thanksgiving.
Leave it.
3.
2?
I could see two more.
But you're not going to turn things around, and owners know that.
No, it's not to turn it around. It's to get them the hell out of there.
No, I don't think they'll do it because they don't want to spend the money on giving a raise to an interim.
You have to give them a raise when they
Antonio Pierce is making a lot more money now than he was 2 days ago.
You need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
How can I How can I get on this Jeff Saturday plan?
That's a pretty good plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you're an owner, you want to finish. You don't want to spark your team for a game and mess up a draft pick.
How much is McDaniels going to be paid out? Because did he have
Fully guaranteed.
So how many years did he have left on that contract? Was it 2?
I think it was 5 years.
Or was it 3?
Yeah.
And they're still paying Gruden how much?
Big money.
He's got $100 million.
Yeah, between 40 and 80 million.
Yeah.
Yikes.
They got money to blow.
Yeah, Vegas is making a
Schefter
lot
said
of
he
money.
has 4 years left on a 6-year deal.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And it was reportedly
God.
close to 10.
$10 million they're paying him still?
A year?
A year.
Yeah.
McDaniels?
Yeah.
That's what it was reported as. Approximately $10 million in salary annually.
Paying like $100 million between two coaches that are not
Holy
coaches.
smokes.
$80 to $100 million. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I want to circle back to this. Take it or leave it. The Titans will beat the Steelers. I'm sorry.
We can make a wager, though, if you'd like.
Okay.
So-
I already have the Mayo one going, so I know that will be continuing.
Oh, yeah, you do have that. If the Steelers win, you have to wear a Steelers shirt for the entire show.
The entire show?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Fair.
Okay.
And if the Titans win,
Then we need to get you a Titans shirt?
Well, That sounds like a plan.
It's a better bet for Brooke because she hides behind the computer.
Show us your face.
I don't mean to hide behind.
I'm going to adjust the camera my damn self.
Look, I don't mean to hide behind the computer. The way that this camera is positioned,
it's myself. You will know.
The camera just might not be here that day if the Steelers. Be like, oopsies. I don't know where the camera is.
Then the coffee bet. Where are all the cups? Take it or leave it. The Cardinals' 2024 rotation will be Sonny Gray, Shane Bieber, Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz, and Zach Thompson.
Leave it.
Leave that.
Where does Shane Bieber come from?
And why?
Justin's brother. What are we doing? Is that where we're going?
Justin's brother.
Yeah, we don't want to go. If you looked at what happened with Shane Bieber last season, it was not pretty. He used to be an elite starting pitcher, but he hasn't been now for the last couple of years. Last year, he had a career low strikeouts per 9 innings. Let me get this for you, 7.5. He, in his best year, when he won the Cy Young in 2020, he had 14.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. Since then, he's descended to 12.5 per 9, 8.9 per 9, and last year, 7.5 strikeouts per 9. He's going away from what the Cardinals say they want to go toward. So I'm going to say that Shane Bieber is not part of that equation.
So I would be okay. I would be very good with Jordan Montgomery coming back. And I've just thought about
He might not, but you would.
But here's the thing. Yadier being on the staff, maybe that influences him. If he's on the staff, he can say, hey, I know you and Wilson may not have seen eye to eye. I'm going to get him together. We're going to get you together. We're going to have a great season. Maybe that's a way you can go. Jordan Montgomery, Aaron Nola, I'm good.
I think Jordan Montgomery, like Max Scherzer, they like the old school guys.
They do. And he really likes Maddox.
So where is he going?
Might go back there.
Back to Texas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, winning does cure a lot of things. Makes you just feel, hey, it's just a cure-all.
Yeah.
And they obviously are willing to spend, and they know they're not going to have DeGrom next year. And Scherzer is a question mark because of his age, and he was hurt a lot this year. If you're that ownership and you're trying to bring it back one more time, why wouldn't you give Montgomery? And he's only 30 years old, 31. Big left-hander. He's already been through the injuries. I don't know if you're the Rangers why you wouldn't want to bring him back. Actually, you let Martin Perez walk and keep Montgomery.
And he's said many times that he's really enjoyed working with Maddox.
Yeah.
Seems to follow him.
Take it or leave it. As Mariah Carey starts to thaw, it's too early for Christmas music.
As Mariah Carey starts to thaw. I like that. Well, CD, you have a Christmas cup already. I saw that this morning.
I
Where's
did,
your
yeah. I didn't. The Starbucks gave it to me, man.
That's fine. It's their fault.
I was confused as well. I'm like, we ain't even
like it's already happening. Yeah.
Starbucks has those cups readily available for you.
Is this controversial? Where I like the holidays to go in order.
I agree.
So Thanksgiving, and then you start with the Christmas music and the decorations.
Yeah, you can't. It can't be Christmas until it's Halloween. I mean, until it's Thanksgiving.
That's how I feel about it.
Weird.
I think that's reasonable.
You can always have the Christmas spirit, but the decorations need to start after Thanksgiving.
Take it or leave it. New Titans quarterback Will Levis is going to look really good wearing a TJ Watt jersey tonight.
Oh,
take it!
Oh,
it's going to be all over him.
Stop
jersey swap. Hey, you saw it enough. You want this? You can take it and keep it for your kids.
No,
it's only got some of your blood on it.
Leave that. Leave
a little bit of snot and blood on it. You can have it.
Leave it.
Take it or leave it. Next head coach of the Los Angeles Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Los Vegas.
Should have been
Did I say Los Angeles? Did I say Los Angeles?
You did.
They used to be. Las Vegas Raiders is Jim Harbaugh.
I'm going to
leave that. Jim Harbaugh is working himself into not having a job. Well, I know the NFL doesn't care, clearly. But
the Raiders might not.
They don't give a damn. But that's an intriguing thing that's going on. Like, I watched Jim McElwain, the Central Michigan coach, get on have his press conference. I don't know if he was lying or if he might have been. I don't know if he was lying. He seemed a little bit nervous. Like, I wouldn't want to do a crime with that guy. He seemed a little bit breathing heavily and unable to gather his thoughts and his words. It scared the hell out of me. Like, well, you seem to be lying to me, brother. I don't know.
I don't know about this all this stuff with the sign stealing guy.
The sign stealing guy. He was, I don't know. He wasn't on any list. You know his damn name, man. Say his name.
Did you see the latest video of supposedly the Cy sidelines. We knew about that, right? But then supposedly they zoom in on the video and you can see like a little light.
A little green light on his blue light or green light on his glasses.
And the spy glasses. And that's what it looks like. This is the wildest story.
Getting out of hand.
I love it. And Harbaugh has to be at the helm, right?
Oh my God. This is
get
nonsense.
Him in the NFL.
Hey, where he belongs, because where they don't mind cheating.
Yeah.
No.
No, I know where Harbaugh's going.
Where?
I mean, he's taking over the Patriots.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it does. Are you done with Take It or Leave It?
Yeah.
You don't have any more?
Oh, I'm saying.
Come on, Randy. Wait, it's November 2nd. It's not even. Oh, yeah. You ever heard this?
No.
I'm going to be really confused.
You know this one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we can do this.
Why not?
The YouTube chat has no idea what's going on right
That's
now.
okay, we'll sing it.
They're so confused. No, don't do that.
I don't think they want me to sing
I don't
again.
think you can do that either.
I can't sing I can't say the words.
I don't think so.
Do you just change the tone?
Oh, Merry Christmas. You know, when we started this...
Merry Christmas, Randy. We haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving.
In 2008, before we started this station, we switched from a dance station, Movin' 101.
Moving?
Yeah, and we went from like early to mid-October until New Year's playing Christmas music. We play pretty much all of October, November, and December, and then the last week of December, playing Christmas music the whole time. It was Christmas music and Billikens. That's all the station played. It was pretty wild. It was fun though. Anyway, thanks for your text. We do appreciate them. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, which World Series franchise would you rather the Cardinals copy, the Rangers or the D-backs? That's next on 101 ESPN. Over the last couple of months, I've learned a lot about Metro Transit and how important public transportation is for a community. And I've learned that having a public transportation system like we have with Metro is vital to our region to attract Fortune 500 companies. They want people to be able to get to work efficiently and not have to deal with traffic and parking. And so Metro makes a big difference, whether it's the bus lines or MetroLink. If you already like Metro, you're going to love it once you know what difference it makes in all of our communities. And that includes if you're in Fairview Heights or Richmond Heights or Maryland Heights, you can make the ride to wherever you need to go on Metro. And if you already have a negative perception, you should think about Metro a little bit. Think about the quantifiable positive difference that Metro can make on both sides of the river, whether it's in our walk of life in sports or whether it's getting to work or whether other people that you don't even know having a way to get to their jobs. Metro makes a difference. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Drive's fresh take.
Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Okay, the Texas Rangers are the world champions. They knocked off the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 last night. They win the World Series 4-1. And last night, Arizona had the presumptive Rookie of the Year in the National League, Corbin Carroll, leading off. They had a youngster that they've kept and extended, Ketel Marte, hitting second. They traded for a rookie catcher from Toronto during last offseason, Gabriel Moreno, who's one of the best catchers in baseball already. Christian Walker bounced around and finally found a home with the Diamondbacks after they traded Paul Goldschmidt. He was one of the best hitters in baseball and a Gold Glove first baseman. He was their number 4 hitter last night. Tommy Pham, former Cardinal, who they picked up at the deadline, was their number 5 hitter. Lourdes Gurriel, acquired during the offseason last year from Toronto, hit 6th. Young center fielder Alec Thomas hit 7th. Evan Longoria picked up off the scrap heap, hit 8th, and then Gerardo Perdomo, rookie shortstop, hit 9th. Meanwhile, the Rangers had names you know, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, the rookie Evan Carter. They would have ordinarily had Adolis Garcia, but instead they had Mitch Garver hitting 4th. They had Young, the rookie third baseman, hitting 3rd, and Josh Young had a great season with 23 homers and 70 runs batted in, and he ordinarily was their number 5 hitter. Nathaniel Lowe, who they got from Tampa, hit 6th. Jonah Heim, their catcher, who bounced around, by the way. He's a 28-year-old catcher who really played his first full season. He was their number 8 hitter. Then Luis Taveras, the young center fielder, and Travis Jankowski, off of the scrap heap, hit 9th for them last night. So the Rangers have the big money with Seager and Semien. They also had the big money with their starting pitcher. And you can say that John Gray was big money. I think that's fair. In addition to signing Jacob deGrom, signing Nathan Eovaldi, who was the key last night, and bringing in Max Scherzer. And then they brought in Bochy, and he and Mike Maddox developed a bullpen with Jose Leclerc back at the back end. The Diamondbacks went with a younger group, young manager Torey Lovullo, a relatively young staff, although Brent Strom is 75, and the former Cardinal minor league pitching instructor and minor league pitching coordinator is one of the best developers of young pitching in the game. The question then is, you look at these 2 world championship teams, which one would you rather the Cardinals emulate? Would you rather go and fill in the blanks with free agency, or would you rather go with a younger lineup and a younger staff that is probably better prepared for the long term? For most of this World Series, the Diamondbacks started the lineup with half of it being 23 years old or younger.
Well, Randy, you've always said that you would do anything, right, to be able to win a World Series. So that's why I think that the Rangers model is the way to go. The way that they are so aggressive and resilient is something that just really stood out to me. And I thought that this statistic was interesting because when you're talking about payroll and the money that was spent, it all paid off for the Rangers in the long run because their spending skyrocketed them to top 8 in Major League Baseball payroll. And this statistic is interesting. Only one team has won the World Series that was outside of the top 14 in payroll since 1995. That team being the 03 Marlins. So if you're following statistics, trends, patterns of what is working, then that's a pretty big one. If you are also worrying about developing players, but you want to win, how do you make up for those weaknesses? You open up the checkbook and you go out and you pay for those experienced players. Also, having that experience on the coaching staff is something that paid off for them. Bruce Bochy, the Bruce Bochy effect, we talked about it earlier, is real. What he was able to do, Mike Maddox, for him to come a part of that staff, every single one of those players and pitchers have talked about how much Bruce Bochy and Mike Maddox has meant to them and helping them develop and grow this season. And so the way that they were able to just continue to maneuver through things and work through issues, and they were willing to spend, but spend smartly. Because that's the thing is, I get that you can bring up the Mets, you can bring up the Padres, and how that didn't work out, that all this overspending, but the way that Chris Young really worked through all these differences and was able to really pay attention to what they needed and addressing and understanding those weaknesses and figuring out how to get past those, I think is what you have to do, is to have that touch in the field and feel for what is exactly needed for this team.
And you have to be able to overcome mistakes, for lack of a better term, in free agency. When you lose a Jacob deGrom, you have to have either the gumption, Padres would go get a $50 million loan, or the cash, because the Rangers have a great TV contract and they're a top 10 market, to be able to go out and get a Max Scherzer when deGrom goes down.
I think you can, if look at both teams and say we can do it somewhere in between. You obviously have to go spend money if you're the Cardinals. You don't want to go out and spend the stupid money that the Mets have spent, that the Padres have spent, and you don't get the results from it. It worked for the Rangers, right? It did. They did a good job. They spent money. They got the returns on their investment, the best return on your investment that you can get in winning a world championship. That's awesome. But if you're the Cardinals and you are in a franchise that is comfortable dealing in those waters, you have to find a way to where you can spend money on starting pitching, starting quality pitching, because that's the one thing that you missed out on last year. And maybe do what the Braves have done. Spend some money on your current players. Lock those guys up. Make sure that they are here for the foreseeable future. And then you got to have some guys that, pop out of nowhere that are going to be studs. I think Mason Wynn is going to be a really good player. He's shown the ability defensively. Now, can he put it together offensively with more at-bats, with more opportunities? You're going to have guys that show up and show out when their number is called. And I think that's what it all boils down to. But as a front office, you have to get players in here that can play, that you pay to play, that are top-tier players with the expectation of coming in here and being superstars.
And I think the other thing you have to do, and Carey, you mentioned it with surprises, and every team that wins has a surprise, and it doesn't have to be a surprise to your own team, but it should be a surprise nationally. And I don't think, for example, that anybody expected at the beginning of the season that Leclerc would be a dominant relief pitcher. I don't think that at the beginning of the season, Carter, although he can't hit left-handers, I don't think that they expected Evan Carter to be a middle-of-the-lineup guy for a World Series team. You need some surprises along the way, and the Cardinals clearly have the ability to identify talent. Do they have the ability to develop talent to become all-star quality? We don't know about that, but when you look around baseball, clearly the Cardinals can identify talent. Sometimes they send it away, but they can get it into their organization.
They can do a really good job of that, and that's why I'm saying is that if your concerns right now are if you're able to really develop players to their full potential, then that's where you really need to start opening up the checkbook. And that's something that I think you can take away from the Rangers. Yes, they spent a crazy amount of money to be able to get up and skyrocket it up to top 8 in league payroll. I'm not expecting the Cardinals to go out and do that, but I do think that there's a lot of lesson learned. And then bring in Jordan Montgomery too at the trade deadline. Huge. That was huge for them. And so that's what I'm talking about. Their aggressiveness from start to finish and even over the years is something that I think the Cardinals should model after and how they should approach this offseason, because this offseason is going to require them to be more aggressive than they've been in recent years.
And Brooke, you brought up, I think, what is a really important aspect to this, and that is going out and fortifying your coaching staff. And the Cardinals, as Katie Wu mentioned in her piece in The Athletic at the end of the season, they have one of the smallest coaching staffs in baseball. There aren't enough coaches to go around. But Torey Lovullo has a former Major League manager in Jeff Bannister as his bench coach. He's got a longtime Major League hitter in Joe Mather as their hitting coach. Damian Easley is their assistant hitting coach. They have Brent Strom, as we mentioned, as their pitching coach. Rick Short has been around Major League Baseball for a long time. He's also an assistant hitting coach. You've got Dan Carlson, who's been around as an assistant pitching coach. Dave McKay, who we know is their first base coach. Tony Perez-Chica, a longtime Major League coach, is their third base coach. Mike Fetters, former Major League pitcher and relief pitcher for a long time, was their bullpen coach. So the Diamondbacks have a veteran staff. And then you look at what Bochy has with Will Venable, longtime Major League player, as his associate manager. Donnie Ecker, former Cardinal minor league hitting instructor, is their bench coach and offensive coordinator. And then you add a Mike Maddox. You've got multiple people that have been around the majors. And, of course, the wisdom and veteran presence of Bruce Bochy at the top. I think that, and I don't think I'm wrong here, I think experience does matter on a coaching staff. And I think that's one thing the Cardinals could do is add to their inexperienced coaches with people that have been around.
Well, you want to have people that have done it, been in the fire, whether it's as a player or as a coach, understanding those moments and understanding that it's it's not always about the X's and O's. It is, but it's about the player, making sure that that player is mentally in a good space, making sure that that player understands what is going on in that specific moment. Those things matter, and those things come with experience. It's very rare for a young player to live up to a moment and not, not have any fear or not have any worries. Those guys are few and far between. But, when you have veterans, guys that have done it, guys that can explain it in a way that helps a player get through a specific moment, that matters. And so I think the Cardinals definitely need more of that in terms of the leadership on the staff, guys that have been in the fire, done it. And hopefully, we get some players that have done it as well and understand, hey, this is our time. I have said this for the last 2 or 3 years. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, you have to put together a championship team while those guys, because they are now getting past their prime. 2-3 years ago was the prime. Last year, 2022, when they're both top 3 MVP candidates, that's their prime. Last year, you see now, Nolan Arenado, not a Gold Glove Finals and not going to win a Gold Glove. Paul Goldschmidt, same. You're getting past the time where you're saying, oh, they're in their prime. If you don't put together a roster, you've done a complete disservice for 2 future Hall of Fame players, 2 great players for your organization.
One more quick point, and we're going to talk to Bernie Federko in a moment. 10 years ago, the Cardinals played the Dodgers in the playoffs here, and Stan Kasten, the president of the Dodgers, was doing an interview in their dugout, and I mentioned this before. And somebody said, because the ownership in L.A. was relatively new, and somebody asked Kasten, what would you like your organization ultimately to look like? And he pointed over to the Cardinal dugout, and he said, that's the model over there. That's what we want to be. Nobody's pointing over to the Cardinals right now, to the Cardinal dugout, and saying that's the model, that's what we want to be. So if the Cardinals take a cue from Arizona or Texas or Atlanta, that won't bother me one bit. Take a cue from the successful organizations and try to go about it that way, because when you lose 90, it's not working for you.
No, and that's what I like, too, about what the Rangers said, because when you were talking about you have Paul Goldschmidt here, you have Nolan Arenado here. Why did you bring them here? Yep. You have to remember that. And the way that the Rangers were able to maneuver, you signed Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, and I know that 2022 they dealt with a lot of injuries, and they said, wait, we have these 2 really talented guys. We need to go out and build it, because the offense wasn't the issue. They realized they need to go out and getting some pitching. And so that's why I think it's very interesting that I see some similarities. Like I said, I'm not expecting the Cardinals to go out and spend Rangers money or Mets money, Padres money, anything like that. It's about spending wisely, because you see what the deficiency is right now, right? Yep. So go and address that this offseason. Be aggressive. Take that same aggressive nature that the Rangers had when they didn't let anything stop them. Take that into this offseason. That's something I wish that the Cardinals will do.
That's our fresh take on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to talk to the Hall of Famer Bernie Federko about the Blues' 4-1 loss in Colorado last night. That's next time, 101 ESPN.
Louis Blues as we head into the Blues booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN, and we head to the celebrity line, and our friend, the Blues Hall of Famer, Bernie Federko, joins us in the opening drive. Bernie, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. I'm doing fine, thank you.
Last night, there were, I guess, some things to take away from the 4-1 loss to Colorado. What did you take away from that game?
Well, I liked the effort last night. There's no question that they had a really good second period. I mean, Colorado's a heck of a hockey club, and I think the Blues obviously competed with them. You know what? I think that's the whole thing, is that I think they've got to just continue to work and just try to get their presence up. I mean, defensively, they played well. They just got to figure out a way to score some goals. I think that's the most important thing right now.
Bernie, you are a goal scorer. What is the mindset that needs to take place for this team to have success in that area?
I don't know if it's a mindset. It's just a matter of just keeping working. I mean, when there's chances coming, the puck is eventually going to go into the net. And I think that's the one thing with it. I know it's frustrating for the fans to watch that and the puck's not going in, but it's obviously very frustrating for the players. But it's one of those things that if you think about it too much, I mean, it's instinct. Instinct has to take over when you're out there. If you're a goal scorer, you know what you have to do. And when you get an opportunity, you've got to score. And certainly, they did have some chances last night, not enough chances, I would say, but they ended up, with 29 shots on goal. So there were some good things going on. But, you got to just continue to work through it. I mean, it's as frustrating as it is, especially when you're an offensive guy. You can't get depressed or down on yourself because eventually, if you keep working, you're going to get the chances, and eventually the puck's going to go in.
Well, Bernie, something that they're still working through is the power play right now just continues to be a struggle for them, going 0 for 3 last night, and they're now 32nd in the league. What are you seeing there? Because that's supposed to be a momentum boost for them. That should be a huge chance for them. What are you seeing from the Blues power play, and how can they just improve this? I know we keep talking about that, but it is starting to get concerning that they haven't been able to really manufacture any momentum from that.
Yeah, obviously, Brooke, that's a really big concern. I mean, they're 1 for 25 on the year right now. So it's one of those things that really is you have to get more shots on goal, and I think that's the one thing that they're not doing. I mean, I think they're experimenting. Obviously, they changed some personnel last night. They changed the power play around with the personnel, but I still don't think they're getting enough shots. I mean, the first power play last night, they moved it around really well, but they didn't get a shot on goal. So I think that, you always go back to every one of these guys has been on a power play that's struggling. And I think the one thing that you do when that happens is that you all get together and say, hey, we're going to have to score an ugly goal. We can't continue to just move the puck around. We've got to get more shots to the net. We've got to get more people to the net. And I think the mindset has to be is that when that puck goes back to the point, everybody on the ice knows that that's got to go to the net. That means the 3 forwards go to the front of the net and fight and battle for a rebound or try to get to the puck first so that you can maybe get a dirty goal. And I think that's what has to happen right now because I think that they're trying to be still too particular, getting a really good shot. I mean, I know that the penalty killing is very good. It's very aggressive, but no matter how aggressive it is, you still got to be able to get an opening where you can go and get the puck to the net. And I think that's the biggest concern I have is that they're just not creating enough shots on goal.
Do you think that is there a concern of giving up a shorthanded goal as to why they're not getting to the net and following up shots as the reason why they're not doing that on the power play?
No, Carey, you can't worry about giving up a shorthanded goal. I mean, the whole thing is that I don't care if there's 4 forwards or 5 forwards out there. You're out there to score goals, and if you get a shorthanded goal, you give up one. Yeah, okay, they gave up one in Vancouver last week. That's going to happen, but you don't worry about that at all. You've got to go out there with the mindset that we are going to score, and especially on the road. I always talk about the importance of scoring on the road because you don't get the last change as a coach there, so your top lines are going to get the matchup that the home team wants, and a lot of times it's really the best checker. So when you're in that situation, when you get on the power play with that extra man, you better darn well score, because that's the way that you're going to win those games. And the Blues are not getting that done. And I think as frustrating as it is for all of us and for them, the Blues are still only one game below 500 now. I mean, they haven't scored any goals, but they've scored 14 goals in 8 games now. And then with the one shootout goal, but they're still only one game below 500. So they're not in a serious situation where it's like do or die right now. But they still have to find a way to score in the power play. And if that happens, then everything will come together. And then, I mean, we all know that they can score. It's just a matter of time and getting through the frustration before that does happen.
Bernie, I try to be realistic and rational when I'm watching sports, and the Blues are my team. But I look at the Blues roster and what they've done, and I look at the Avalanche roster and look at what they've done, and maybe 4-1 Colorado is what that score should be. If these teams play 10 times, I said earlier, Colorado, based on talent, probably wins 9 times.
Well, when you've got McKinnon and Rantanen right now, Randy, not many teams have that. I mean, that's really. You got Makar back on defense. I mean, you got 3 of the top players in the National Hockey League right there. I mean, not taking away from anything from the Blues right now, but those guys are the ones that make that team tick. And certainly, everybody else has got a role, and then they play their role very, very well. But that's a confident hockey team. Obviously, they won the Cup a couple of years ago, so they know what they have to do. So, I mean, the Blues roster is still, I mean, they've got a few guys left from the 2019 Stanley Cup, but there's some good young guys on this team that are trying to prove themselves. And I think that we're seeing the transition. I mean, we talked at the beginning of the year, this is going to be a big test for Robert Thomas, for Jordan Kyrou. They're the new nucleus of this hockey club, so they have to start, continuing to work to come through and be the 2 nucleus players that they're supposed to be. And it's still early in the season. I mean, it's 8 games in, Randy, and yes, you can't expect them. I mean, it's really not that much of a disappointment when you lose to a really good team like Colorado, as long as you're competing. And I thought the Blues did a good job competing last night, and they're going to get some bounces. And you know what? Binnington was still really good last night. I thought the young goaltender for Colorado played very well last night. So these are the things that, these are, I think we could call them growing pains right now. And we're going to have to continue to watch this, and hopefully that this team is going to come together.
We will be watching tomorrow night, Blues and Devils on Bally Sports. And Bernie will be tuned in for the pregame with you and Alexa. Thanks so much for the time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a great day.
You too. That is the great Hall of Famer, Bernie Federko, on 101 ESPN.
For me, it's the fact that you don't get shots on the power play when you literally have an advantage in men is
well, you should be able to manufacture that, Carey.
I think so.
You should.
And like we said earlier, hey, I know the Blues have tape of when Al MacInnis played. And I'm not saying that they have Al MacInnis on their roster, but they set up the power play so they get it. Yeah, just get it to the point and let them blast away. And like we said earlier, if you weren't tuned in, Al MacInnis had no fear about breaking somebody's ankles with his shot. It's part of the game.
Are these guys?
So let them rip.
What's the difference? Like what? I know hockey, just like football, has taken out some of the violent acts. Like it's not as physical as it once was, but taking a slap shot is still part of the game.
Yeah, but some guys are really nice, and they're worried about hurting people.
Do you want to win?
There you go, Carey. That's the bottom line.
Randy, listen, man. I wanted to win more than I wanted to do many other things. If you got hurt in the process, not every. Well, every. But if you got hurt in the process of me making a game-winning play or a play that was helping my team win, sorry, pal. I'm sorry about it. Sorry for you. Not better, honestly, better you than me.
But you know what you signed up for, too, right?
Yes. I knew good and doggone well when I signed up to play fullback that linebackers were going to come try to shorten my neck. That comes with it. So guess what I had to do? I had to cut them to slow them down every now and then so now they don't run down as hard. It's part of the game. It's a physical, violent game. Football is. Hockey can be, used to be. You got to do what you got to do to win, man.
By the way, you also need that player that's willing to go to the front of the net while you're on the power play and take the beating.
Thank you. That's what I am just perplexed by with them. And you need more production. As he mentioned there, this is a huge season for Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou as you're building this young core. they're not the only ones, but it is going to come a lot on what they're doing. You need more from your top forwards offensively. I mean, the other teams just have to get excited when they're looking at the Blues, and the amount of time that the Blues are just turning the puck over coming out of their zone is insane. And then I mentioned earlier, I was making a joke out of it, but it is concerning, especially when you saw last night. I mean, the way that other teams are able to just park in front of the Blues net after everything that Jordan Binnington is doing for you this season, and he is a huge part that you have been able to even stay in these games, it shouldn't be on him to bail you out of every single game.
Right. Back in the day, when Brett Hull was at the top of his game, the Blues played Dallas in a playoff series. Maybe they were still Minnesota at the time, but they were the Stars. And they had two defensemen named Stuart Gavin and Gaetan Duchesne. And they cross-checked the hell out of Hully. Who you see Hully highlights and you see the sharpshooting, right? Yeah. He was going to the front of the net, and they were wearing him out. But did he stop? Nope. No. He went to the front of the net, and he took the beating because he knew that's the only way the Blues could win.
How do you
some greasy goals.
Is it easier to score from in front of the net or further away?
Front of the net. The closer you get, the easier it is.
Yeah. It makes sense.
So, and not comparing any of these players to Brett Hull. But one thing that we know that these guys can do is they can go to the front of the net and stand on their skates and take hits. Just go there and stand there. And
What if that's not the philosophy, though? What if that's not what they're being coached?
Then maybe the coaches need to change their philosophy.
Well, even you saw with that Robert Thomas goal, the way that Buchnevich really just kind of set that up, driving to the net, and the way that he was in front there and just set up that perfect screen. Why not do more of those things?
Right. That'd be great.
Why not?
Yeah, Big Walt, man. Big Walt provided a great screen back in the day. Big Walt was a power play guy. Coming up, we've got the fight on 101 ESPN. Matthew, do you need a fighter? We would love to have you text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Your name, the word fight, and perhaps Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey, and I want to tell you about the great folks at STL Design and Build. I finally got my deck done. It is amazing. It looks amazing. They came out yesterday, did the final walkthrough, and, I'm just so excited about the work that they have done. It was a long time coming. I knew that, my deck was in a terrible place, how bad it looked. It was out of date. It was not up to code, and it didn't have the look and the feel that I wanted. And now my new deck does. My project coordinator, Becky, did a great job. The contractors, Aaron and Brandon, came out, stayed long hours, morning to night, to make sure that it was up to date. STL Design and Build is an award-winning company that has taken home the top workplace award as well as the best home improvement company. They truly believe in helping people and treating people how they want to be treated. STL obviously stands for St. Louis because the owners are from St. Louis, but it stands for Sky's the Limit. They believe in making sure that you get the best deck for the best price, and you need to check them out. Reach out to them online today at stldesignandbuild.com. That's stldesignandbuild.com.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, the Blues get beat up by the Avalanche late, 4-1. They'll be back in action coming up tomorrow. You'll be able to hear that game right here on 101 ESPN. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. It'll be a 6 p.m. pregame right here again on 101 ESPN. Last night, World Series Game 5, Rangers blank the Diamondbacks 5-0. Zach Gallen with a great start for the Diamondbacks, but unfortunately, there's full 9 innings. He goes 6 scoreless, 6 hitless before everything falls apart in the 7th and then the 9th inning for the D-backs. And coming up tonight on 101 ESPN, it's the TOD Bowl as Carey Davis's Steelers face off against Brooks Grimsley's Titans. And you can catch that game right here with the pregame starting at 6:30 p.m. right here on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Brian. Brian, how you doing?
Good. How y'all doing today?
Doing well. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
I've been trying to take on Randy for the last 10 years, so I'm ready.
Okay, so that means you're prepared.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Corey Seager became the second ever player to win a World Series MVP for a different franchise. Who's the only other player to do that? Is it Randy Jackson, Edgar Renteria, or Randy Johnson?
Edgar Renteria.
Yeah. Did I say Reggie Jackson?
I believe you said the first option incorrectly.
Reggie Jackson, Edgar Renteria, or Randy Johnson?
Edgar Renteria.
All right.
I thought that's what you said.
I thought that's what I said, too.
I honestly thought the first thing you said was I thought you said Randy Jackson.
I said Reggie Jackson.
Okay.
No, he just said it in a different order.
I just said it in a different order.
Yeah.
I thought you said Randy Jackson. I'm like, the guy from American Idol? Hold on a second, Carey. You're confusing
That's
the
enough
listener.
for me, dog. Yeah.
I missed when it was like that. All All right, question number 2. Which franchise is the last to win the World Series after winning 100 games in the regular season? Is it the Braves, the Dodgers, or the Astros?
Ooh, let's go with the Braves.
R.I.P. to Bobby Knight, most known for his 5 Final Four appearances and 3 titles at Indiana. At which Big 12 school did Knight finish his college coaching career? Is it Kansas State, Texas Tech, or Iowa State?
Texas Tech.
I guess you did say
Maybe
Randy Jackson.
I did say Randy Jackson.
I for some reason, didn't hear you say it like that.
I was like,
Randy Jackson.
What the heck just happened here? I didn't even know for me, dog.
Okay, final question. On this day in World Series history, on this day in World Series history, the Astros put together just the second no-hitter in the Fall Classic history. Who started that game? Was it Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, or Luis Garcia?
I'm sorry, repeat the options again.
Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia.
Christian Javier.
Let's double check our score and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Brian, how you feel?
Randy Jackson.
You know what? I think I feel pretty good.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're doing well. Randy Jackson, Randy Watson, me, one or the other. You know, it is what it is. We're on the radio a lot. We say things wrong. It happens. You guys
I'm a fan of Randy Watson. So
Randy Watson. Yes. Randy Carricker is here.
There's a lot of Randys.
Say hello to Brian.
Brian, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
All right.
All right, Randy, I'm going to try to read this question correctly this time and not mess it up.
Okay, you got
Randy. All right, yeah, okay. Corey Seager became the second ever player to win a World Series MVP for different franchises. Who was the only other player to do that?
I would think that it would be the other position player to win multiple World Series MVPs. Reggie Jackson, I think 73 A's and 77 Yankees. I will go with Reggie Jackson. He of the cars and the bad attitude.
Nice.
Which franchise is the last to win the World Series after winning 100 games in the regular season?
Okay, so you've got, last year the Astros did, the 2022 Houston Astros.
Oh, sorry. I'm laughing at the texters.
Okay.
This is serious. R.I.P. to Bobby Knight, most known for his 5 Final Four appearances and 3 titles at Indiana. At which Big 12 school did Knight finish his college career?
Texas Tech. Red Raiders. Then his son took over without a tremendous amount of success.
Oh, no.
On this day in World Series history, the Astros put together just the second no-hitter in Fall Classic history. Who started the game?
I think that it was Christian Javier. I believe. I am going to go with, because it was not Verlander and it was not Valdez. So I will go with Christian Javier.
All right, I'm going to do this the way that one listener really wanted it.
Okay.
Who is the winner in today's fight? Please ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
See how much...
Really?
You see how much worse that was? Did you feel in the room the complete lack of excitement? Alrighty. Well, congratulations to Randy Carricker. He hit the jack in that fight and he won that one 4-2. I'm sorry, Brian. You waited a long time, and unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people around the St. Louis area. Randy Carricker did defeat you today in the fight.
Hey, you know, it's not a problem. Randy, I'm a big fan of yours. I actually took a picture with you at I believe it was. I think it was the last Rams game of the season where you just got done doing that speech to talk at the town hall meeting. And I'm a big fan, man, and I appreciate everything you said about, the Rams leaving and everything. So I'm grateful.
That's very nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you listening and being a part of the fight today. And that was, I wish that I could have helped us keep our franchise, but that horse was, as we know, out of the barn already by the time we said that, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you again, Brian, for joining the fight and joining the show. Let's go through those questions. Corey Seager became the second ever player to win a World Series MVP for different franchises. Who was the only player to do that? The answer, of course, is Reggie Jackson. But the reason why we're all laughing, Randy, is because Carey gave us 100% when reading, because the options were Randy Johnson, Edgar Renteria, or Reggie Jackson.
My brain just said Randy Jackson.
As the
Randy
first
Jackson.
pitchy to me, dog.
That's a no for me, dog.
And the best part was Carey like, I didn't say Randy Jackson. And then the Facebook chat in the text line let us all know very distinctly that he definitely
Facebook
said.
chat? There's a Facebook chat?
YouTube chat. That definitely said, yes, you said Randy Jackson. So Reggie Jackson was the correct answer. Which franchise the last to win the World Series after 100 games? It was, in fact, the Astros in last year. It had been a 5-year gap since the last time it had been done by a team before that. R.I.P. to Bobby Knight, most known for his 5 Final Fours and 3 titles at Indiana. He did, in fact, finish out his college coaching career at Texas Tech. And on this day in World Series history, the Astros put together the second no-hitter ever, and it was started by Christian Javier. Randy, do you have any issues with people calling that the second ever World Series no-hitter?
Did the other team have a hit?
They did not.
No. Then I don't.
Well, I'm sure. I saw it and I was like, let's have a conversation about these whole combined no-hitters that everyone's so angry
If
about.
the team doesn't have a hit, then they have no hits, I believe.
Yeah. Randy, you and definitions today have a weird relationship. I'm just saying.
Oh, with the texter who doesn't, we have a texter who's he prefers the definition provided by Facebook memes rather than Merriam-Webster.
What did I miss?
Facebook meme. It's the person who texts in that Randy's woke all the time.
And woke means awake and alert, which I like to consider myself to be awake and alert to what's going on around me, rather than the alternative.
Not being
kind of head in the sandish,
not paying attention, not knowing what's going on.
I find this discussion funny.
By the way, John said, thanks, Rocc. I've been waiting for you to add more Jackson 5 questions.
We have been working hard here, diligently trying to get Michael and his brothers the attention that they deserve.
Yes.
You all should be thanking me. Jermaine, Tito, Randy. We have been working hard to do that. You're welcome.
Hey, Brooke, one thing you learned growing up in SEC country is that it just means more, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it means the most for Mizzou this Saturday that it's ever meant. That's coming up on 101 ESPN.
it's not a beauty contest. It's a football game, and it's never going to be perfect. It's about finding ways to win, and there's going to be ebbs and flows in every game, and so you got to withstand the storms, and you got to find a way to finish no matter what no matter how you start.
That is Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach at the University of Missouri. They're 12th in the country according to the college football playoff rankings. They're 7-1, the Tigers are, as they head to Georgia to take on the two-time defending champion Bulldogs. Georgia is 8-0, and they're a 15.5-point favorite in Athens this weekend. Georgia lost perhaps their best offensive player, tight end Brock Bowers, a couple of weeks ago. He will not play in this game. Has Eli seen anything different from Georgia's offense?
Yeah, certainly when you watch the games in order from the first of the season until now, you see just how elite Brock Bowers is. I don't know that I've ever seen a tight end single-handedly take over a game like he did against Auburn, and was extremely impressive. And he's such a security blanket that they can, on second and 10, throw a quick screen out there and he's going to get 8 or 9. I think without him, obviously Ladd McConkey stepped up. I think Dominic Lovett ended up being their leading receiver in that game, not necessarily from a yardage standpoint, but from a catch standpoint. But they certainly have a lot of weapons. And whether you're talking about Ladd or Ra Thomas or Rosemary Jack Saint, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Dominic Lovett, they've got a lot of different players who can catch the ball and create opportunities after.
And the point here is Bowers, who, I think it was Desmond Howard that had him as the Heisman Trophy winner in the preseason, might be the best offensive player in college football. That's going to make an impact when you don't have that guy.
Mm-hmm. It will make an impact. So it'll be, but here's the thing. Georgia's really good for a reason. They have plenty of depth around them. I'm more interested to see what, on the other side, what Mizzou's receivers will do, and also with Brady Cook, because if you think about it, Mizzou's offense has faced some questionable secondaries so far this season, and especially looking at South Carolina. But do you think that Luther Burden, Theo Wees, and Mookie Cooper, have you seen enough of the season to feel confident in them going into this game of what they'll be able to do with their playmaking abilities?
I think that Luther Burden can be a game changer with his athletic ability. The key is going to be getting the ball into his hands, and I think if Mizzou can do that, now it's not going to be all day long, but there have to be some plays that Luther Burden makes. If you're going to beat a team like Georgia, and nobody has in 2 years, but you're going to need your best players stepping up and making athletic plays against a team like that.
I think Drink said it best. You have to weather the storm. You're going into a hostile environment down in Georgia. You have to know, you don't have to. People say, if you played them 8 out of 10 times, you wouldn't win 9 out of 10. You're playing them one time. You're playing them on Saturday. Everything else doesn't matter. Throw it all out of the window. You worry about being, the best of your best on that day, not turning the ball over, not giving up big plays, making tackles and making big plays when you can, when those moments arise. You just have to be your best on that day, and then hopefully you can take down the number 1 team in the country or number 2 based on the college football ranking, whatever that is. You just have to show up and show out, and you have the opportunity in front of you. And I agree with Drink. Weather the storm, because there's going to come a point in that game where Missouri gets hit in the mouth. How do you respond? There's going to come a point in that game. Last year, they had Georgia down on the goal line. False start, move the ball back 5 yards, don't score a touchdown. Like, you have to capitalize. When you're playing a number 1, number 2 team in the country, you can't have those mistakes. You can't have the moments where you don't take advantage of their mistakes, because Georgia may turn the ball over. You need to score. When you get in the red zone, you need to score touchdowns and not field goals, and hold Georgia to field goals and not touchdowns, and you can come out with a win.
And turnovers, when an upset like a Mizzou win over Georgia occur, it's generally because of turnovers. Mizzou +2 in the turnover ratio, Georgia +1. So, Coach, how important are turnovers in a game like this?
I'll be honest, I'm not trying to, with our team, focus on, oh, man, in this game you got to do this. Again, when I talked about our opening statement, we're focused on what we need to do to be 1-0 in every week. We're focused on ball security, red zone third down execution. On defense, we're focused on making sure we can be gap sound, stopping the run, focus on takeaways and tackling in situational football. Whether it's playing at Georgia or playing at Vanderbilt or playing at home versus South Dakota, like that's the formula that it takes to win. So it's not like you can go in there and say, all right, guys, all these previous games, I know we said it, but we didn't mean it. But this game, we really mean you got to force takeaways. Like that ain't how this works. Like you got to play your game. We're going to try to force takeaways. They're not going to try to give them to us. Really, in these kind of games, in these style of games, it usually comes down to little details and fundamentals that you practice over and over again that you got to execute.
And that's obvious, right?
No, I mean, it's the small details. Yep. It's the little things and the small things that you may not think are huge, but the things that you harp on over and over and over again. When you're playing a really good team, you have to be detail oriented. Because if not, they're going to beat you. If they have better athletes, which I think across the board Georgia probably does, then you have to be detail-oriented. You have to not turn the ball over. You have to make big plays and limit big plays, and that's how you win these types of games.
And the SEC is all about winning the battle in the trenches, right? So how do you feel about Mizzou's offensive line, which obviously has improved since last season, but penalties still plague this unit? How do you feel about them? Because this is where I think it really is going to come down to for Mizzou.
If you don't have the pre-snap penalties, false starts, illegal motions, things of that nature, things that you can control, you're going to get penalties after the snap, like things like holding. It's unfortunate, but that's just a guy competing, and maybe the guy's better than him. You limit those, you have a chance. But if you are, killing yourself with penalties over and over again, you get a holding on a play where you get a 50-yard bomb that comes back, that drains your team. It's an emotional roller coaster that you don't want to be on. So take care of the football, limit your penalties. It's going to be tough as hell. It's not going to be easy. Georgia is not going to give them anything. They aren't going to lay down. They aren't going to give in. So you have to go there and you have to take it from them. And if you do that, if you punch Georgia in the mouth and see how they respond, because they haven't really been punched in the mouth yet. Go punch them in the mouth early, get after them, take care of the ball. Don't make the mistakes that that you could make against a Kentucky, that you could make against a Tennessee. Those mistakes are going to haunt you if you do. So this is I think Missouri has a better chance than people are giving them credit for. They just have to go out there and play their best game.
Coming up on 101 ESPN, we have a new world champion in baseball. The Rush Hour Reset coming your way next.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
On ESPN. Everywhere you look, that's where we are. On your radio, online, on your mobile device, and in your app store. Search the 101 ESPN app now in the App Store or Google Play. Drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:05 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. The Texas Rangers knock off the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 last night at Chase Field in Arizona. And the champions of the baseball world are the Rangers. Excuse me.
You all right?
As they beat the Diamondbacks.
You sound like Rob Manfred last night when he was telling. Somebody need to get that man some water. Did you hear him? He was struggling. He was struggling last night. It happened.
I'm trying to do Bruce Bochy. Here's him. After the win.
It's special. I'm not going to lie, it's special to come here in my first year, with the team that was determined to play winning baseball and never won a championship. But as far as me, that's a byproduct of what those guys did out there and what the front office did. I was along for the ride, trust me. I was very fortunate and blessed, to be able to get back into baseball in this type of situation. I was in Nashville just relaxing and had 3 years off and come back and be in this position. I've said so many times, I'll say it again, I'm blessed.
Randy, I don't know when you stopped talking when Bruce Bochy started talking. I thought that was you the whole time.
Seamless transition there is what we call that in the biz.
Yeah. So the Rangers win it in 5. Congratulations to the Rangers and their fans. They went through a lot of heartbreak in 2010 and especially in 2011 here. They thought they had their first World Series, and now 12 years after that, they finally get it.
It's good for them.
Yep.
I mean, I thought it was, when they lost Game 2, the way they won Game 1, obviously, comeback fashion, lost Game 2. Everyone was like, oh, the Diamondbacks stole one on the road. They're going to go home and finish this thing out or go win a couple. And the Diamondbacks didn't have a chance. And that's no offense to them. They had a great year, but they ran into a team that could hit the hell out of the baseball, and they played well all season long. And so, therefore, the Texas Rangers earned that win. I love – it's one of my favorite things. I don't have to watch any games, but I actually love watching grown men celebrate winning championships. It is like one of my favorite things in the world. Seeing guys jump over the fence, coming out of the dugout. It's just something that when you have played this game for as long as some of these guys have, something you dream about if you've never won, to be able to get to that point, to get to that level, it's a blessing. It's amazing, and I'm happy that they won. They deserved it. They earned it, and they took it to the Diamondbacks.
And their aggressiveness paid off. And I know I keep saying aggressiveness, but that's the best way that you could describe them. That and their resilience through the season and over the years to really work through a lot of issues, and they didn't give up. Props to Chris Young and everything that he was able to do, especially bringing in Bruce Bochy out of retirement, as Bruce was talking about there. The Bruce Bochy effect is real, and the way that he was able to really just impact the Rangers. I mean, you come in, this is his first season, and he was able to get them to the World Series, and they win it. That is absolutely crazy, and that's more of a testament to Bruce and what he's been able to do, and also how they were able to develop players over the course of the entire season. And I'm happy for Jordan Montgomery. That was a great moment. And Mike Maddox, when you're talking about grown men celebrating, when he was doing that post-game interview and Maddox started tearing up at the end, that hurt my heart a little bit because I'm happy for him, but I just think about everything that he did here at the Cardinals organization. I'm happy that it paid off for him.
Did you have any thoughts about the bottom of the 8th when the Diamondbacks got a runner on and were not willing to run in that position, in that situation? Fear of getting that third out because but then you didn't because you gave up 4 in the top of the 9th.
Well, right, but they missed opportunities. They lost that game in the first 4 innings when they had runners on and couldn't come through against Eovaldi. He was terrific. Meanwhile, the Blues lost 4-1 last night in Denver to the Avalanche, down 2-0 after a period. And Paul Bissonnette on TNT was not very complimentary of the Blues defense.
Boys, I'm being dead serious when I say I think I could have dressed for the St. Louis Blues. I'm telling you, they were. They turned over the puck 100 times that period. I could have dressed as a defenseman. Could you take your jaw off the floor?
I think do
your job and take your jaw off the floor. I could have poked some pucks, and I could have cleared some pucks out.
I'm with
you. That was pathetic, man. That was a pond hockey game right there.
You're right. Our goalie maybe should have stopped it too.
On that one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, you see the puck fluttering. How hard a shot was.
Well, I think he was so distracted at the fact that the defenseman
was slow.
Talk always talks about as a defenseman angling off going forward. He had that angle on him, and then all of a sudden he just started backing up, and then the wheels fell off.
Are you suggesting that Biz could have played goalie tonight?
I'm not. Yeah,
Okay.
Whatever you want, dude.
I love how you really believe you could have played D out there. I think I could have survived that period and not looked out of place as far as how the St. Louis Blues defense played.
I'm waiting.
Oh, well, he's not wrong in the sense of it really was frustrating because they were talking specifically about Tyler Tucker in that situation there. What was Tyler Tucker doing? He made it too easy, and that's what's concerning to me.
Backwards.
Hey, that's something you can do, right? That's great. It's just concerning because it's almost like teams know that they can get away with things like this, and Tyler Tucker essentially let him. He wasn't the only one because we talked about it. You're having these turnovers happen. I mean, Torrey Krug with another one last night. There's so many different situations where you see the guys just really not be aggressive or really threaten the other teams, and so then teams are able to get away with things like that. And it should not all be on Jordan Binnington to bail you out every single time. I said this at the beginning of today. You should just pretend like you have an e-bug in net and that you can't depend on him to bail you out of every single situation. And I know that e-bugs are fantastic. That's not a shot. I'm just saying it almost feels like they're going into games saying, well, I mean, Jordan will bail us out, right?
Yeah.
And you can't depend on that every single game.
By the way, Bissonnette was a winger who last played in the NHL in 2014. He's 38 years old. So this is a guy that knows the league. He had 6 years in the NHL. So he can legitimately say, I could have played out there and not be wrong.
I think it's frustrating. And that's we see it every night, right? We watch it on Bally's, nationally televised game. To have people talking about your team in that manner, it has to be frustrating. Now, there are one or two things you can do as a player when you hear something like that about yourself. You can get frustrated and who the hell is this guy? What does he know? Or you can take the constructive criticism and actually get better because they have to get better as a team collectively. Whether it's Tyler Tucker not playing that situation correctly, whether it's Binnington not stopping the puck, whether it's the power play not getting shots on goal, whether it's whatever it is for this team, collectively, it needs to be better. And I think that's the most frustrating aspect of the game. I mean, we had a texter earlier talking about, well, they tied in shots on goal. Wonderful. They won the faceoffs. Cool. Like all of that.
What was the final score, CD?
They lost 4-1, man.
Okay.
And so they were 0 for 4 on the power play. I think, and they're dead last right now in power play percentages.
They have one, though.
They have won in 8 games.
Okay.
I don't think that's very good. And so
look at it this way, though. If you want to extrapolate, though, maybe this will sound a little bit better.
Okay, let me hear it.
After a full season, they'll have 10.
Yeah, maybe.
They're on pace for that.
Are you sure about that, Randy?
No, I'm not. It's just the pace.
They may have one.
It's the pace they're giving us, though.
The pace they're giving us, it may be just one.
True.
Who knows? As a team, I just think that you have to figure out who you are, what type of team you are, who you are collectively as men, and what do you want to do every single night, because it's not good enough.
And you need more out of your top forwards. You need more out of your leaders. That was something that Jamie said yesterday, and even Bernie talked about today. The pressure is on, especially for Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. There's no question about that. I mean, that pressure was on when you knew that it was coming with those contracts. But still, at the end of the day, you need more out of your top guys.
Yep, no doubt. By the way, the odds for next season's World Series champions are already out. The Braves are the favorites at 13-2. Cardinals are 19th at 50-1. Other teams that are 50-1, like the Cardinals, include the Brewers, Marlins, and Reds. Teams with better odds than the Cardinals include the San Francisco Giants, the Chicago Cubs, the Minnesota Twins, the New York Mets, and the San Diego Padres. So there you have it. So now you know via radio. Coming up on 101 ESPN, we've got Jeremy Rutherford talking a little more Blues on the opening drive.
Nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Insider from The Athletic is the one, the only Jeremy Rutherford, who joins us now on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. You can follow JR on the X at JP Rutherford. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
You have reached a number that has been disconnected.
You're a beauty. So did you stay up and watch that game last night?
Yes, we did. Part of the job.
Yeah. What'd you think of Paul Bissonnette's comments?
Oh, wow. He lit it up, huh? Biz is a character. I actually got to know him a little bit, just interviewing him a few times. And he was out here, I think, for a celebrity game out at Centene. He tells it how it is. I think he does a great job on that show. And I know that they have to be pointed with their comments. It's entertainment. And he wasn't necessarily wrong. I think they focused on the defense, and it's not just the defensemen. There's a lot of plays coming out of the Blues zone with the forwards carrying the puck, too, that end up on the other team's stick, as we saw last night. But that play with Tyler Tucker, I know I caught some grief on Twitter, when I didn't really single out Tucker. I realize if you're in the NHL and you're in the lineup, you're supposed to make that play. He's a 7th-round draft pick who's a stay-at-home defenseman who his partner Letty pinched on that play, so he's left to defend a speedy Ross Colton, and he didn't make the play. And so to me, it's not so much on Tucker. Does it beg the question that you should have a quicker lineup in there, Scott Perunovich, if he can handle that job, have him in there. He's got the wheels, and I think against a team like Colorado, you need to see that.
So do you think that we will be seeing more of Scott Perunovich here soon, and how do they kind of move things around for that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess you look at it like, Brooke, if they felt like he could do it, he would be in there, I guess is the way they're viewing it. But Craig Berube himself said a couple days ago that Tucker had a couple bad games, and that's why they pulled him out. And, if you look at that game as kind of more of the same, which you probably do, then I think at some point you're just going to have to make a decision on who you're playing back there. But, I've been touching on it all week. Seattle, Arizona, Colorado, the Blues aren't any match for some of these speed teams, and that was evident right there on that play.
JR, how does this get fixed, or do we have too high expectations for this season right now?
I think that this is going to be a struggle. And you know what? Preseason, early on in the season, you guys and a lot of people are asking about, is this a potential playoff team? And you hear Doug Armstrong saying, shoot for third in the division. I felt like if this team showed up every night and was competitive, that could maybe overcome some of the lack of talent and the fact that it didn't match up speed-wise or in some other areas with these opponents. But, I think for the most part, the effort's been there, and the talent is just lacking, and the talent that they do have isn't performing. So I think it's kind of a combination of those things right now. So, how do you fix it? How can you do it? I think you're going to have to get much better performances from some of those top guys, and I think you're going to have to, have these areas like the power play try to help compensate for the lack of what you don't have talent-wise. I mean, we're talking 1 for 25 now on the power play, and I wrote about it at The Athletic today. 32 shots combined on those 25 power plays. Last night, you had a situation, 3 minutes into the game, you get a power play. The Blues have only had the first goal of the game twice out of their first 7. So there's a chance to get the first goal. You don't do it. Later on, you're down 2-0, can't score on the power play. Later on, you're down 2-1 and can't score on the power play. So here's something that should be like taking candy, and it's not. And throughout the season now, it's really cost the Blues. So if you don't have the talent to match some of these teams, you got to rise up in some other areas like special teams, and the Blues aren't doing it.
So with that being the case, don't have the talent, need to rise up with other avenues like special teams. How do the Blues forge ahead? Is it by upgrading the talent or changing the way that they approach those other items of which you speak?
Yeah, it's the best question you could ask. I mean, I think that it's a come to Jesus, but remember last year the Blues did that with Doug Armstrong coming out in early November and things didn't change. You know, is it evaluating this team as a team that's not going to be a playoff team and just accepting it for what it is? Is it finally some of these guys, you know, carrying their weight? You know, I think there's a number of things. Or if none of those three happen, Randy, then it's going to be changes. It's just going to have to be. But, you know, to me, I guess at this point, even though it's only 8 games in, to me, they have to be evaluated for what they are. And instead of waking up and watching them every night thinking that the Blues have a chance to win this game, you know, I think people are going to start watching it like, yeah, they could win if they pull one out of their hat. But this is going to be a tough season, and you know we just have to prepare for those consequences like they did last season.
And we know that Craig Berube is a Stanley Cup champion coach. He still is, in my mind. But my question is this a Craig Berube team?
Yeah, well, I think that it's tough to say whether it's his team or not when it's a retool. Like, would Craig Berube have wanted the Blues to go out and get a Vrana type, you know, and some other guys on this team? Let's say Kapanen, who's been pretty good, probably better than advertised. You know, I think, you know, does Craig Berube want a defense with a Torrey Krug and maybe even a Tyler Tucker? You know, I think
that's my question right there. You hit the essence of my question.
Yeah, so the Blues are going through this retool, and I think it's tough, Randy, to have a Craig Berube team when you're kind of picking up spare parts and you're dealing with cap issues and things like that. So, you know, eventually you're going to get to the question if this continues this way. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying people are. In a month, 2 months, you know, is Craig Berube the right guy to lead this team? I think it's a bigger question than you know, as Craig Berube's message run stale. There's a lot of new players on this team who haven't heard his message. Like they're a year, 2 years into being with him. You know, a lot of those guys that he started out with are gone now. So to me, it's not so much as the message stale. It's what coach could come in and compete with this type of roster.
Well, Jeremy, you mentioned retool there. When does the conversation start turning into, especially if things continue in this trend, from retool to rebuild for the Blues? Because it seemed like last season they realized pretty early on that something wasn't right there. You saw the moves that they made. When does that conversation start shifting for the Blues? How much more do you think that they will need to see?
Well, I think that you could probably get to that point, you know, now or soon. It still is early. I mean, we got to keep that in mind, 8 games. I think nobody likes what they see, but it is only 8 games. But I think when you have that conversation, you talk about, okay, now it's a rebuild. Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean that we're totally going to go with the younger guys and Tucker? We don't care how many mistakes we're putting them out there. Perinovich is out there. We're going to call up Zach Bolduc, Zach Dean. I mean, to me, that's kind of the rebuild situation where you're going to start playing those younger guys. You're talking to Snuggerud about coming out of school and getting him in a few games at the end of the season. And then you're talking about getting Dvorsky here, you know, next year or the year after. But even if you do that, we all know what that means. It's going to take, you know, a couple, 3 or 4 years. You're not going to be able to, if you can't count on Kyrou and Thomas and some of these other guys right now, you know, how are you going to count on an 18, 19, 20-year-old to come in and change things around right away? So, yeah, that conversation could be changing internally, but I would suspect that the Blues will let this play out, you know, a little bit longer.
JR, thanks so much. Great stuff as always. We appreciate it. We'll be looking for what's up next in The Athletic. By the way, what is up next in The Athletic?
Yeah, we got a story right now on the Powerplay, kind of breaking it down. And then, Randy, you know how it goes in the media. We got a fun story that we've been working on, but the last time you want to place a fun story up on the internet, things are going like this. So some stories, let's just say they get held a few days.
All right, that's good. Have a great day. Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. Next up, the lead play-by-play announcer for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Jake Zivin joins us to talk some City next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey for Window Nation, and it is time for the best time of the year. It is fall, and so with Window Nation, they're offering their best offer of the year. Get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Plus, put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 full years. If your windows are old, they're hard to open or close, they're drafty, leaky, now is the time to call Window Nation. Take care of it now before the cold weather gets even colder. 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. The weather is changing. The air is cooler. Your window's not open properly. Do they not stay open? Do they not close properly? If so, new windows from Window Nation is your place to go get new windows. New windows can save you up to 30% on your energy bills, and Window Nation is one of the top window companies in the country with a 96% satisfaction rate. Call them today, 866-90-NATION. Go online at windownation.com. They will measure that window 3 times to ensure it fits properly. The window has a comprehensive lifetime warranty, including the entire glass. Give them a call, 866-90-NATION.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Avalanche last night beat up on the Blues 4-1. Blues back in action tomorrow. You can hear that game right here on 101 ESPN. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. You can hear that pregame right here on 101 starting at 6 p.m. Speaking of 101 ESPN, tonight it's the TOD Bowl as Carey's Steelers face off against Brooke Grimsley's Titans. And you can catch the pregame right here on 101 ESPN at 6:30 p.m. Also last night, a World Series champion was named as the Rangers beat the Diamondbacks 5-0 to win that series 4-1. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Controlled chaos.
Brought to you by Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
I think there's got to be changes to the lineup. I think there's got to be real thought this week on what you are. But listen, as much as people want to critique Bradley Carnell, the setup and everything else, the players have to look themselves in the mirror. If the listeners right now are questioning your effort and your ability to win 50-50 balls, which is what won you the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, then it's a long shot.
That is Taylor Twellman, who is the partner of our next guest, Jake Zivin of Apple TV and the MLS Season Pass. Game 1, won by Sporting KC, 4-1 Sunday night at City Park. Now they head across the state into Kansas, and Sporting KC will host St. Louis City SC at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And, of course, you'll see that game on MLS Season Pass. Randy Carricker, Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, and we do go to the Celebrity Line where Jake Zivin joins us. Jake, great to have you with us on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Doing great. Big one, huh, for St. Louis on Sunday in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a very disappointing game one for St. Louis City SC, and so we're also reeling a little bit for that. But you can make adjustments. So I know that Carnell will probably make some adjustments, but do you think that he'll go with one striker up top again, or do you think he'll come out with either Sam Adeniran or Gio with João Klaus?
Yeah, I don't know, right? If it were up to Taylor Twellman, I think it would have been two strikers, and it would have been that way last Sunday as well. I mean, he was very vocal throughout the broadcast about that. And even thinking it should have come at halftime and it came a little bit later into the second half. It would not surprise me if there's a little bit of a change from St. Louis. It obviously didn't work on Sunday, right? And I think Kansas City deserves a lot of credit for that. You know, you heard in Taylor's little clip there that they were second to 50-50 balls and they lost duels. And what I liked is the whole intro to this segment was about controlled chaos, right? And the way St. Louis City, the only way St. Louis City knows how to play, well, Sporting Kansas City didn't let them play that way because they made St. Louis have the ball right from the start. And St. Louis doesn't like to have the ball. It might sound counterintuitive for non-soccer fans, but the distinct style that St. Louis plays it's imperative for the other team to have the ball so that then St. Louis can take the ball away in an advantageous spot and go score. Well, if St. Louis themselves have the ball and are forced to try to build out a possession, they can't really do that. So Kansas City, I think, deserves a lot of credit for the way they came into City Park, forced St. Louis City to play. They were the ones who controlled kind of the terms of that game. To me, that might be more important than the formation, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's either Sam Adeniran or Nicholas Joaquin starting next to Klaus on Sunday.
Jake, in that cut we heard from Taylor Twellman, he was saying the players have to step up and play better. Is that your thought as well? Do you think it was maybe just the moment of the playoffs, the environment, not having the experience, all those things could weigh in? What exactly caused City to perform not in the way that they've performed all season long?
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it, right? It is a team that's inexperienced in these moments, and there are players like Roman Burki, who's played in the Champions League and been a 5-year starter for one of the biggest clubs in Europe in Borussia Dortmund. The moment's not going to be too big for him. But you do have some younger MLS-type players that don't have that much experience on the roster, like at Aziel Jackson. It's a big moment for a young player that has been amazing this year for St. Louis, that St. Louis showed a lot of faith from and signed him basically off of Minnesota's scrap heap. Minnesota wasn't playing him, and he's turned into a great player for St. Louis and a starter, but it's his first time in the playoffs. Jared Stroud, players like that, similar. I don't know if that had an effect on them. Kansas City definitely is a more experienced team. They have a core that's been there for a long time. Guys like Johnny Russell, who didn't play in that game, but is still, we'll certainly see him on Sunday. He was essentially able to rest and heal a little bit because they didn't need him. Daniel Shalhoub, Alan Polito, who's played 10 years at the highest levels. Gadi Kinda, who scored a wonderful goal. So I don't know how much that played into it, but I think it did. I think there's pressure for St. Louis, right, to perform. It's no longer a surprise. It's no longer, in a way, it's playing with house money over the sense of a whole season. This is going to be considered a successful season. But now that they're the one seed in the playoffs, now that they're hosting that first ever playoff game, the supporters have expectations in that game, and that could have led to some pressure on Sunday at home, especially. And now there's all the pressure in the world because if they lose this game, this dream season is over. I think they'll come out more prepared in that regard in match 2 on Sunday for that exact reason. It's no longer the first one. That's over with. And hopefully from a St. Louis standpoint, they will say hopefully they can get back to what brought them there, which they were really unable to do on Sunday.
Jake Zivin from MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Okay, based upon the things that you just said, how concerned should we be as City fans that Sporting KC is just assembled for this time of year better than City is?
Yeah, look, I think possibly a little concerned, but I also think it's a difficult matchup for St. Louis because Sporting Kansas City is not the 8th best team in the Western Conference. They're much better than that. They started off the season terribly. 3 points in 10 games, 3 draws, and 7 losses through their first 10. Just 3 goals scored. That was the worst start by far in club history, one of the worst starts in the history of this league. Since then, So in the last 24 games of the regular season, since May 1st, you're talking over 2/3 of the season, they were the best team in the Western Conference. They dug themselves a huge hole. They climbed out of it. I think there's a much better argument that they just had an anomaly of a first 10 games. They were getting healthy. Things just didn't go right. And who Sporting Kansas City really is the team that we saw in the final 2/3 of the season. And that team was the best in the West. So it's a difficult matchup for the 1 seed to have to play that team in the first round. To me, that maybe plays more into it. It's a really good Sporting Kansas City team that isn't an 8 seed, but they are because they started the season so poorly.
I just want to ask you one more question about possibilities of changing things up. Do you think that City's positioning of Löwen deeper in the midfield is failing to just really optimize his skill set?
Yeah, look, that's something that Taylor also keyed on really early in our broadcast, right? Is he was sitting back and you're kind of forcing him to be a deep lying playmaker, and maybe that's not the best spot for him if you want to attack. I think especially if St. Louis has the ball more, if Kansas City forces St. Louis to have the ball more, yeah, they might need to play Edouard Löwen further up the field to be a playmaker. And that if you have 2 strikers, then that's more natural for Löwen. When they played with a 10 with Aziel Jackson, then he's kind of the guy there, and he's not as creative, I don't think, in the sense of pulling the strings as an Edouard Löwen is, though he's a very good and technical and at times tricky player. Bradley Carnell's got a lot of decisions to make of how to set his team up on Sunday. It didn't work this past week. That's going to factor into it, and the desperation is going to factor into it. So I'm curious to see what he does on Sunday. We're going to talk to him tomorrow, hopefully get a little bit of insight into what he's thinking at this point, and then ultimately we'll see when the whistle blows on Sunday afternoon in Kansas City if changes are made, or if it's all about kind of the process and the system and Bradley Carnell having faith in the way he set up the team on Sunday and doing it again.
Jake, last question for me. City wins this weekend if they do what?
Man, I think if they can play their game, I think if the game is played on their terms, I think if Kansas City, if they force Kansas City to have the ball and then they can take the ball away in Kansas City's defensive half and go quickly and take advantage of those moments, create opportunities, and score goals in transition, which is how they had this dream expansion season, was playing that way with that style. If they can impose their style on the game, I think they win. If they can't, which they didn't in match 1, I think they lose. And it's interesting, right? Like they say, styles make fights. And this is a great example of that. And it is all season long with St. Louis City. And Kansas City, it's interesting. Kansas City is a team that all season long liked to possess the ball. That's been Peter Vermees. That's been his style in Kansas City. I think they were 8th in the league in possession, about 52%. St. Louis was last at 44% by design. But Peter Vermees very pragmatic in match 1. He totally flipped that script. At home, there's kind of an expectation in soccer. At home, you're supposed to be the dominant team that's on the ball, that wants to create and build. Will Kansas City, now that they're at home in match 2, feel a little bit of that onus and maybe have a different tactical approach? I don't know. But I think if St. Louis can impose their style on this game, then they can get out of match 2 and force match 3 back at City Park.
Jake Zivin, thanks so much for the time. We'll be tuned in on Sunday afternoon. Have fun with it, and hopefully we'll see you back here in St. Louis.
Cheers, guys. Can't wait for match 2.
Thank you, sir. That's Jake Zivin. He is the lead play-by-play man for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. We're going to head down the stretch here with a little rock and roll on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've loved exploring my new home, and thanks to Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it leads to a lot more congested traffic and makes it harder to get to events like concerts and games. But that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone. It's hockey season right now, so it can take you right over to Enterprise Center and over to City Park without the hassle of parking or waiting in traffic, or even trying to find an Uber. You know how much of a hassle that can be. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something I can promise you other places wish they had available, because there's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses to come here and also creates a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many people get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
I want to rock. And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
All right, as we head down the stretch, Matthew Rocchio has something for us to respond to as we roll with what he rocks.
Well, the entire college football world's responding to pretty much one story right now, and obviously, for me, the biggest story this week is going to be Georgia and Missouri. But you are very much correct, and it is, in fact, Jim Harbaugh, because the Big Ten and everything seems to kind of be circling around our favorite guy in khakis and cleats. And, well, one of the best voices on college football actually had some thoughts about Jim Harbaugh as the investigation continues. Here's Paul Feinbaum.
That was a denial, Matt. That was a terrible answer. It was a pathetic answer when you consider what is at stake right now. I mean, there's a report today in the Wall Street Journal that the school isn't going to consummate the biggest contract in college football history with Harbaugh. He really pushed that one off before that question. It's time for Jim Harbaugh to take some responsibility for a scandal that is sleazy, disgusting. It may not derail the Wolverines, but it stinks to high heaven.
He also went on Get Up on ESPN with Greeny, and he said, 2 weeks ago, I sat here with you and made the biggest mistake of my professional career. I gave Jim Harbaugh the benefit of the doubt. Never again. The fact that the Big Ten has not done anything yet is inexcusable, and that last thing might change because there was a Big Ten conference call. Sources familiar with the call yesterday, collectively, the coaches want the Big Ten to act. What are we waiting on? We know what happened. Quoting from Pete Thamel's ESPN story, apparently, where did I go here? Sorry. According to 5 sources familiar with the call, a chorus of voices encouraged Patetti to take action against Michigan in a call that was described as both intense and emotional. So, a lot of things happening here.
So we're just going to leave due process out of the equation here, apparently.
Well, I believe isn't that what they're asking for, essentially?
Well, don't you
to take action? Wouldn't the action be start an investigation?
Oh, I thought they meant do something to punish Michigan.
Well, I mean, I figured we all agree. I think they would agree that we have to find out what actually Stallions did before we actually punish them. But if he did what everyone's
and
reporting,
who was behind it, right?
Who was behind it?
I want to know everything that he did, because it keeps the stories get crazier and crazier. Him being on the sidelines with these supposed spy glasses where you can see like the little blue light. It's so fascinating. I need a documentary on it. And you know what? Don't worry, guys. The NCAA will look into this, right? And they'll hold them accountable.
Right.
And then the FBI will get involved, and they'll actually actually hold it.
Brooke, that's not how this works at all.
Wait, but
It's
Bill
not-
Self, wasn't there like a
no,
level 3 in
they-
front?
Yeah, they don't.
Little 5 level 1 violations.
That's
you
what it got
just-
reduced to?
You just do whatever you want to do and however you want to do it. That's how it usually works.
Not if you're Missouri, though.
Well, they told on themselves.
Never do that.
Lesson learned.
You never tell the truth to the NCAA.
Well, you don't tell on yourself.
No.
If they got evidence, you're innocent until proven guilty. They have to actually prove that you did what they say you did. So you just don't tell on yourself. Hell, what are you doing?
Apparently, the majority of the call included the coaches explaining to Patetti how the scheme worked and how it impacted them and their programs. But obviously, we do not yet have conclusive evidence about some of the Stallions things have been alleged. Again, people are saying they're trying to get the evidence on whether or not it's 100% him on the CMU sidelines against Michigan State. And, so there's a lot to go here yet. But, I mean, Paul Feinbaum now is
Jim McElwain pretty much
sick of it.
Acknowledged that was him on the sideline.
Yeah.
He
sign stealing guy.
Yeah, the sign stealing guy. We got to figure out. His name wasn't on any list, so we got to figure out. I'm sure it didn't say sign stealing guy.
That'd be amazing. That'd be great.
I'm sure it didn't say sign stealing guy on the ticket on the bench
the pass list. Standing right next to the coaches.
That's amazing when you think about it, right?
Yeah. So
his dedication.
The question has to be, and this is foundational, is what did Harbaugh know and when did he know it?
Yes.
Because if Harbaugh is behind it, then this is a major transgression on his part and will probably prevent him from coaching again, although it didn't prevent Bill Belichick from coaching again. But the other part of it is, if you are Michigan, how can you allow a guy like this, whose dream is to be the head coach at Michigan, to infiltrate your program to this level and cause this sort of consternation, not only for your program, but nationally?
Randy, I don't think anything happens now in terms of the NCAA stepping in, the Big Ten stepping in and saying anything. You got, 6 weeks left in the regular season-ish? 5 to 6 weeks left. You're going to let that play out. Then they're going to let the New Year's Day games and the bowls, and if they make it to the college football playoffs because they continue to win, they're going to let that play out, and they'll figure it out at the end of the year. And what they'll do is either, if they make it to be a national champion, they'll remove their records from the history books like it matters, because everyone knows that
there's the Fab Five.
They did it to
Michigan.
the Fab Five, which again, if this was 2023, the Fab Five would have been fine. They wouldn't have had any issues. So yeah, they'll let them play. It'll play itself out, and then if they find that there's an issue, they'll just remove all of their stuff like it didn't matter.
Yeah,
like it didn't happen.
What do you think with people saying that this happens everywhere, essentially, in college football? Do you think that it actually happens to this degree?
No.
Yeah.
No. Hell, if that, listen, now I will tell you this.
Okay.
If that's happening at the University of Illinois and we're still not winning games, we got to figure some things out.
That's a problem.
Now,
I'd be like, yeah, no, we're not
spies. You got a guy stealing signs and we still lose? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You be better. One way or the other.
Get a manifesto going.
So,
yeah.
No, I don't think it's happening all over the country.
So Brooke has been with us since, March, right?
Yes.
Basically. And Carey, she's finally sick of us.
Is she?
She's leaving us.
Yeah, she's not going to be here tomorrow. What are we doing?
It's just one day.
What's going on here?
It's just one
you'll be
day.
back. You'll be back Monday.
Yeah, I got to go get your Titans shirt down in Tennessee. It's a special trip.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is there a Titans team store that you know exactly where it is?
Oh, there's plenty of Titans stuff down there.
Okay,
It'll
good.
be easy. I'll get a nice bright blue one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Can I
You
get
want the powder blue?
I would
or?
prefer the Love You Blue if you're going to do it. If they
Oh,
actually
you're getting
win.
expensive.
Oh, is that expensive? Sorry.
Everybody wants one of those, right?
Well, then you get a number 38 jersey.
You can actually, that's what you can wear my jersey for the entire show.
Great job today by our producer, audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Did you finish your discussion with your texter? No, not yet.
No, that one? No, it's ridiculous.
Me either. Brooke, was this fun?
It was fun.
Oh.
How about that?
How about that?
And by the way, somebody complaining that all I see is Dell when I try to look at it.
What's your face? We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
We're going to scoot her over, have the computer over, and we'll get it figured out.
I don't know what else to do, but I mean, it's just the way that this is set
We're going
up.
to scoot you this way, turn the camera more
figure it
this
out.
way.
Yeah.
And then you can just sit here and type like this.
I'm just trying to get a Dell advertisement
There you
going.
go.
Good
That's
deal.
what we're doing here.
Good job, CD.
Oh, he already played mine.
I know he did. And I just wanted people to hear your voice one more time. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great Friday Eve, everyone.
That's right.